Hey, I'm on the edge of my seat here, back again with another brand new video, and today I will be no damaging chapters 7 through 12 of the Resident Evil 4 remake. This is the second part of a 3-part Resident Evil 4 remake no damage series. I hope that isn't too much of a mouthful to understand. And here we'll be starting off in chapter 7, but it's not technically the start of chapter 7 because the ending of my previous video, I'll leave a link to part 1, chapters like 1 through 6 no damage in the description, so check that out. But yeah, in the previous video, I actually did the beginning of chapter 7 up to the save point with the merchant there just because it was more convenient. So we're actually starting off a little bit later after that, but pretty much where we're starting off in this video is pretty much kind of the big meat, and I wanted to say meat and potatoes, and well, I just said it, so it's kind of irrelevant to not mention it. But yeah, the meat and potatoes of the chapter is in this video. I didn't do anything all that substantial in the previous video. Like, even selling my stuff and buying stuff I do in this video. So there we have the new kind of parasite head crab enemy sort of thing. And the strategy there is just to run past it. Like, sometimes when you run past it, it doesn't work. Like, sometimes it'll attack Ashley, so you have to go and rescue Ashley. Or sometimes it kind of gets to jump on you somehow. And ideally, when you want to do with that enemy is run past it and for the falling animation not to stagger you. But I don't really know how to avoid the staggering. Like, you can still kind of make it past that section, you know, with the staggering. But when you stagger, it makes it more likely that you're bound to fail this section. And I will say that the beginning of chapter 7, well, honestly, just chapter 7 in general, is kind of like being thrown into the ocean after swimming in a kiddie pool for a little while. Though, no, not really. I mean, chapter 6, you know, had the whole big boss fight, and it was very climactic and all that. No, chapter 6 was pretty hard, but what I'm saying is that the beginning of chapter 7 is kind of like the beginning of chapter 1. It's going to be hard as fuck. Because you're going to be thrown into a massive battle near the end of this chapter. And you're honestly kind of thrown into a massive battle in the beginning here, but the battles get even more massive at the end of this chapter. This is definitely one of the hardest pillars for no damage. Though there are some chapters that kind of give it a run for its money, but not in the spectacular fashion that this one does. This was also true of the original game, though the original game didn't have chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It had chapters 1/1. I've talked about this before, but the same section in the original game was also tough. So when you're running up those stairs, shoot that thing there in order to bring the cannon up. This will just save us some time, because frankly, just doing it the other way just takes a while. But the reason I wanted to mention why the beginning of this chapter is kind of difficult is because not only do you have to deal with the fireballs and also enemy placements. This is going to be this enemy here. I'm going to hide behind these crates of sorts because the fireball doesn't reach there. So pretty much just kill the enemy there. And okay, so from memory, when you run up the stairs, oh yeah, also avoid fire. So fire has a weird property in this game where if you run into it for a very short amount of time, it won't damage you. But if you linger in the fire for too long, then you'll actually catch fire and take damage. So just don't even risk it. Just kind of walk around the fire. But sometimes fire can appear in very inconvenient locations with enemies have Molotovs and all that. So then once you reach the stairs here, enemies are just going to start spawning. Some enemies are going to come from the top of the stairs. Some enemies are just going to continue to come from the bottom of the stairs. How many enemies you have to kill exactly so that they stop spawning from the bottom and the top, I'm not 100% sure. I think it was 3 or 4. But this little stair section here is a bit tricky, and if you just kind of run up and don't wait out the enemies, then things can get a little bit dangerous, things can get a little bit unpredictable, and unpredictability means that you're more likely to get damaged. So look at that enemy just showed up. Honestly, I'm got really lucky here that the enemies have just been targeting Ashley instead of me, because if the enemies decided to target me for even a couple seconds, then I just die. And for this enemy, I've seen videos where people parry the dude with the torch, but I've just never been able to parry the torch swing. Whenever an enemy swings at me with a torch, I just end up dying because it's I have pretty bad parry timing, and also I'm just not even 100% sure if you can fully parry that thing, but I'm pretty sure you can. So the path we're gonna take here is we're just going to run into this little corner here, and there's going to be an enemy here, and you can. It is possible to run up on them and backstab them, but if you mess it up, you can just shoot them down. But honestly, it's better. You're better off backstabbing them because these enemies tend to have a big ass parasite. There it is, and it's the big head crab one. This is the new parasite, and it has some unique properties which I will mention later in the video. But yeah, the big thing I wanted to mention that makes this chapter challenging, besides everything I mentioned before, is that there's also blue medallions. And while this thing is an optional objective, like every time the blue medallions show up, I want to shoot them down because it's a fun objective. I think I mentioned in the previous video, like they're just such an appealing like piece of jewelry or whatever. Just I love it. So also from this location, once we shoot this enemy down, we're going to take the opportunity to pretty much shoot down the people shooting fireballs at us because there's like about 3 of them, and we can take out 2 of them from this location, and then from there we're only dealing with 1 person who like shoots fireballs, and their fireballs can't reach all the way over here. But the other 2, one of them does reach over here, so you really do have to watch out for that. And also there was something I wanted to mention with the bow and arrow enemies, though I don't think their weapon is a bow and arrow. I think it's like a bow gun. But I really wanted to mention that I really like the way the game lets you know that those like fire arrow enemies are dead, because like once your shot actually kills them, like the fire goes out. Like I think it's just a really great visual way to communicate that, because this game is very dark. It's very dark, it's very gritty. Like the original Resident Evil 4 was like that. It is kind of a gritty game. This one gets a little bit more gritty with it, especially the castle section, like just the art direction with this castle. Yeah, once we go down there's going to be a blue medallion to shoot down there, just kind of snipe it out. And then there's like another blue medallion to snipe somewhere, and I actually missed one of the blue medallions. There's another blue medallion there. You don't need to snipe this one, just take it out with the pistol. And like the reason the blue medallions are just so challenging is because while you do have a map that shows you the locations of every single blue medallion, memorizing where they are and like the quickest path to kind of go through them and like actually take them all out in a timely manner, that takes a little bit of dedication in like the brain. I don't know like what part of the brain it stimulates, like memorize locations of the blue medallions or memorize paths and which way to run, because you could just spend time, you know, dilly-dallying around, you know, looking at the map, but that takes up so much time. One of my previous no damage attempts of this section in particular, I just looked at the map, I dilly-dallied around, and the whole thing just took forever, and it was just way too long. And I should probably mention that I am unsure if, like I am actually pretty unsure if I'm going to get the S rank or not, because right now, like I have chapters 13 through 15 to complete. I've done chapters 7 through 12. And I'll tell you, I mean, you'll know, by the end of this video, you'll know like how much time I've spent on chapters like 1 through 12 by the time we're done here. But yeah, no, if you spend too much time dilly-dallying around, it kind of ruins the time and you won't be able to get that nice S rank. Also, this is a segmented run. I don't plan on going for S plus rank in any way. Like at best, I'm going to get either an S rank or an A rank. One of those is guaranteed, but I'm not going to get an S plus rank because I've already saved more than 15 times. But yeah, no, I am attempting to try to get an S rank, but I'm not 100% sure if I will get it. I might have wasted a little bit too much time in certain areas. But yeah, no, I don't know exactly which part of the brain you have to activate in order to like be good at memorizing where the blue medallions are without constantly looking at the map. But you kind of have to practice. You have to like, you know, get good at that. And also there's this whole section where you have to do the entire combat section beforehand and then do the blue medallions, and also just shooting down the blue medallions during the combat section. It's a lot. And so pretty much like getting back into the game, because I mean, I've split these videos up into 3 sections just to kind of make it easier on me. It makes the commentary easier. You get videos sooner, though it hasn't really helped in releasing the videos sooner because it's been like a month since I released the chapters 1 through 6. I just graduated college. I was very busy with work, but I did graduate, so I'm pretty much free to do stuff in the real world and potentially spend more time on games. I'm not 100% sure if that will fully pan out given what I might want to do with my life continuing forward from academics, but yeah, I don't know where to continue off from that.
Thank you. Come back anytime.
It was a bit of a learning curve getting back into the rhythm of things because, you know, after I played Resident Evil 4, you know, this remake, chapters 1 through 6, I was getting better at the game, I was getting more used to the controls, and now I just kind of had to relearn everything and kind of get used to my muscle memory thing, because I might have played a few too many other games or just watched too many other movies, just didn't really play these games. So I had to get used to everything again, and also just get used to like planning out how to do these combat encounters. So there I throw a flashbang, I stab the 2 guys with shields, then I kind of run away for a little bit. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to do after I take out the guys with shields. I think I'm just trying to take out the most problematic enemies with the shotgun, or I might just be spamming the shotgun willy-nilly. Okay, it seems I'm just spamming, nope, but okay, so these guys with the big Grim Reaper, they're called scythes, right? You actually want to shoot these guys with the pistols because they're one of the easier enemies to like take down than others, because for no damage purposes, when other enemies try to hit you, you don't have a dodge button to like run away from them. But for these guys, they only really have one attack that you can't, dodge by pressing a dodge button. But most of the time, they'll do an attack where they swing at you horizontally, and a dodge prompt will actually pop up. So you can just continue shooting them, but as long as you press that dodge prompt, you're good to go. But there is one specific attack they do which you can't do that for, and it's when they swing vertically. They like wind it up super long, so you will know when they're going to do it. But yeah, you will know when they're going to do it, but it is like the one attack you can't just press a dodge button to avoid. So you really have to watch out for that. And while we're talking about the combat of this game, I don't like how slow weapon switching is. Like, it is a great improvement from the original that you can actually switch weapons on the fly, but the actual switching itself, there's still like a bit of a delay. You like press it, you have to kind of wait for Leon to pull out the gun. And I just I don't want it to be too fast, because this game isn't exactly like a super duper fast shooter. It is trying to keep a bit of a survival horror-ish action approach. Like, the original game was also very action-y based, but had elements of survival horror. Like the original Resident Evil 4, like if you're playing on the GameCube or with a PS2 controller of sorts, it has the same like control layout of the original Resident Evil games. Like, I know that's true for the GameCube. I'm not sure if that's true for like the PS2 or PS3 or PS4. In fact, I'm not sure if like the remasters, like the PS3 or PS4 or PS5 remasters have changed the controls in any ways. But if you're playing on the GameCube, like the control setup is pretty much the same as it was in like the original Resident Evils. But yeah, no, the weapon switching is a little bit slow, and when you're in a really intense situation, it's not super duper slow, but it's just there's a delay, and it gets a little annoying. And here we're just gearing up for the first boss fight of this video, and this video is 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I've mentioned it before in my previous video, but the reason I split this video up into 3 parts, aside from, releasing videos quicker, is that Resident Evil 4 and this remake are both split up into 3 big sections. There's the village section, there's the castle section, and there's the island section. So this video pretty much encompasses the entire castle section. There are 3 very distinct sections of the same game. It's a great structure, it works out really well for it. But yeah, for the way I'm going to tackle this fight is I'm pretty much going to try to snipe this dude in the back. Like, there's many ways to tackle this fight. If you have the bow and arrow, which I like the bow gun, which I just have not gotten, and spoiler alert, I don't plan on getting it. Maybe I will get it in chapters 13 through 15. Like, I don't know, my weapon inventory does have some pretty dramatic shifts throughout the course of this walkthrough. This is a walkthrough, right? Yeah, it's also no damage, but I'm doing the entire game, and it is a very long video, so it might as well be a walkthrough. But yeah, no, the weapons I have do change over time, so maybe in the next video I'll get that like bow and arrow thing. It just kind of scares me, and I just don't know what to do with it, and I don't like having things in my... Okay, so there I tried to cheat the game because he kind of got stuck in a corner, but he just decided to actually be smart and break out of it once I started moving the chain. It would have been crazy though if I could actually open that thing, and oh my goodness, that was incredibly close. I have no idea how I didn't get hit there. Like, another way you can like tackle this opponent is you can actually like stealth him and like backstab him in the back, but the input for like backstabbing his little parasite thing is kind of finicky, so you're better off just sniping him from afar. At least there, if you fail, you don't get immediately killed. But if you fail the stabbing thing here, you do get immediately killed, and it is a huge pain. So like, I wanted to do this stealthily just to like save ammo and stuff, but it's just not worth it. And also just doing it stealthily means that you'll kill him in like 4 to 5 or 6 stabs instead of a bunch of failed bullets or whatever. But you know what? If you have a sniper and you have like bullets to snipe him with, then it ain't too bad. In fact, did he die there? No, he's still not dead, so we're still in this fight. And while we're talking about this fight, I don't really know what else to talk about with strategy with this guy, aside from you don't necessarily need to be crouched down to be silent. I think if you're just kind of walking around while standing up, you're still silent to the enemy unless you're like super duper close to him. I'm not 100% sure about the parameters. You just have to really watch out for the chains around the arena. They make noise. He'll try to kill you if you bring one of them, yada yada. Hey, but we got a red, I don't know how to say that word, the red barely, I don't know how to say that word really, but let me talk about something else about this game. So You remember how the bear traps don't damage you in this remake? If you saw my previous video, you'll see many instances where I got caught in bear traps, but I took 0 damage. Well, I just found out that the same thing is true of the Viper in this game, which, well, if that was also true in the original game, that would have saved me a lot of headache, because there were certain sections where in the original game where they would place the Viper in such a way where I'd have to like redo an entire really painful section of no damage. By the way, I do have a video where I've no damaged the entirety of the original Resident Evil 4, well, the Wii edition, but it is the original game, so do check that out. There's like one moment with a Viper which haunts me to this day. Okay. But in this game, I can't really be haunted by any of that because the Viper doesn't damage you. Like I'm saying, it's just kind of weird. Like, what's the point of the snake trap in the remake if it doesn't really do anything this time? I mean, you can sell it. It's just kind of like a slightly annoying item to sell because it like moves around and sometimes it's placed in like tricky situations, but it doesn't damage you, so you don't really have to like stab it really quickly. You know, it's not really so much of a jump scare if there's no scare to it. All it does is jump now. It can't scar you anymore, so it's a very weird thing. So yeah, for this puzzle here, you just kind of have to shoot the right symbols, and one of them is in the room with us, and the other ones are inside that room, and once you get that, you get the sword. Once you get the sword, you'll actually have all the tools to do the sword puzzle, the little quaint sword puzzle in this room.
What's that used for?
Well, it's just a replica. Only a couple of uses for it.
Like, I guess now there is actually a difference between no damage runs of this game and no hit runs of this game because, well, you can still get hit by the bear traps or the Viper, but, you know, you don't take damage. It's kind of like in Yakuza, in certain Yakuza games where if you have 0 health but you have a heat bar, you can take a hit and it only, like, affects your heat bar. It doesn't affect your health, but, like, are you really doing a legit no damage? Though if I was running by those standards in this game, I guess I've already failed my no damage because, well, I've been hit by the bear traps. Though, I have, spoiler alert, I don't get hit by the Vipers because... Oh, look, hey, look at that! See, I was just talking about you. That's great timing right there. Honestly, I think we just end it off right there. I'm going to talk about something else. So, reloading in this game delays certain other actions like using your knife. Like, once you reload a weapon, you can't draw out your knife or do knife attacks while you're reloading. And there's also like a 2 to 3 second delay once you're done reloading where you can't use or draw out your knife. Knife, right? I hope I'm being understandable. So yeah, this makes quickly breaking crates kind of annoying because while reloading, you can't quickly draw out your knife to knife the crate. Fun fact though, while reloading, you can still do like the contextual attack to break the crates, you know, like the kick, or slamming it with your arm, or slamming it with your gun, I don't know. So while you're reloading, instead of knifing the crates, just doing the contextual action is the better thing to do. But you also might as well just start planning out. If you're in a big chase, and during that chase you want to break some of the crates along that chase, you're better off not reloading, because it's just going to ruin the much faster like knife stab crate strategy. So here we just kind of do a little bit of a loop-de-loop, and I'm going to go back to save the game because this next section, it's the big one. It's what the rest of the chapter is going to be. And also this chapter, I'm pretty sure, is the longest one of the video. Like, this is the big section. Like, you know, it doesn't get any bigger than this. But here I'm just going to sell off all my items and just kind of get ready for war. And hey, I mean, the Viper, it is a useful item to sell. It does give you money, just doesn't hurt you anymore. So there isn't really much risk to the reward. It's just a reward now. So I guess that's kind of I guess that's what's kind of like upsetting about it. You know, there's no risk anymore. So like the reward isn't as satisfying. I mentioned I would stop talking about the Viper. You know, I can't promise you that this will be the last time I stop talking about the Viper, but I'm going to try to make an attempt here to stop talking about the Viper. But yeah, no, just like the art style of the castle here is honestly a big contrast from the original game. And honestly, I like the change. I do think I kind of prefer the more clean, kind of fantasy look of the original game. Like, it's very bright, it's very campy. It kind of feels like I'm in a Scooby-Doo location. While here, this feels a lot more horror-centric. Like, the art style of this area, I think, is like better at capturing the kind of spooky atmosphere from the village, you know, like it's got its darker tones. While in the original game, the castle section kind of feels like a huge departure from the village, because the village in the original game is very dark, it's very like grungy, it still has like a horror feel to it, while once we get to this section in the original game, it just goes straight like completely Scooby-Doo, and like that contrast is awesome. While here there is still a little bit of Scooby-Doo here, but like the visuals do reinforce more of a, you know, oppressive atmosphere from the village, and I kind of like them experimenting with this. I think it's neat. And oh, I could have sworn I saved 2 to 3 minutes ago, but guess not. I think I'm just my memory is not doing me too good right now. Ugh. I don't think it's memory. I think it's more my attention span. Like I'm trying to focus on 5 different things, so I forget to mention the first thing. I definitely will be doing this again throughout the course of this 2-hour and 40-minute video. But yeah, so right here, pretty much there's 2 enemies with the fire bow gun arrow things, and Ashley, for some reason, she's going to try to start conducting electricity against me. So at some point, once I start shooting the second enemy, she's going to start vibrating to like really get the static going. However, she does nothing with it. Like if she could actually like shoot electric powers like Miles Morales, she would actually, I think less people would hate her. But I don't know, she just isn't blessed with the powers of electricity. Okay, so I don't know exactly if there is a name for electric powers. I mean, there's like pyrokinetics for fire, but is there a fancy name for electricity? I mean, there's telekinesis, but telekinesis is just telekinesis. It doesn't have anything to do with electricity. I think it's just electricity. So the waves of enemies kind of spawn once you go past a certain point in this area. So once you cross that point, I'm going to go to this door. And in the original game, I actually played this section really cheaply. Like there was a bunch of enemies that were trying to snipe me, so what I would do is I would just, you know, go through the door, and since the areas are kind of like blocked off, you know, you enter the area, you go to black screen, you load in the next area, and then you exit the door, it's a black screen, you load in that area. So I just kind of kept doing that over and over and over just to kill all the enemies, while here the area is seamless, and while you still can run away from the enemies, like if you run away farther enough, like the enemies kind of forget where you are and go back to the original spawn points, but they are going to go for like a little bit of a chase. So what I'm going to do, instead of being extremely cheap, is I'm just going to try to like draw them all out here and pretty much just slaughter them right where they stand. And I'm doing pretty good here. You know, I have like multiple weapons to switch between. I'm switching between weapons, and if you ever do need to reload, you can kind of just run back here and reload, and just still watch out for the enemies. They can be a little bit faster than you'd expect and kind of like be very quick, especially when some of the enemies get brain worms here. Like I just heard one of the enemies was kind of giving the impression that they were going to go into like their brain worm section, and then we're going to stab that guy, get the shotgun out, boom, bam. This crowd has been pretty much cleaned up, and right here I'm actually going to do something very cheap. I'm going to run back to the save point because one of the enemies just dropped a ruby. This does not happen like often. This is kind of a rare occurrence, and I don't want to lose that ruby by messing up the rest of the section, because while I will be saving here and this is very cheap to do, like, you know, like I'm not doing the entire section in one go, I will be doing the rest of the section in one go. And hey, thankfully the save point was at least pretty close by, and by the time I finished slaughtering all the enemies that gave me all the rubies, I was pretty much like right next to the save point, so hey, why not do it? So yeah, once you go in here, there's going to be 4 snipers which spawn in from here. There's going to be someone who walks in from there, pretty much shoot them down, and then there's going to be another person on the other one there, but they take longer to spawn, so instead we're going to shoot these snipers down while the other one is spawning in. And this is where that whole thing about the fire arrow people dying, when, you know, like the animation of the fire going out is really useful, because this game is really dark. Like I can barely make out these enemies I'm sniping, so like I really need to know when they die. Like that fire is like the only real indication of when they're fully dead, and I am fully depending on it. And also, like, having a lot of sniper ammo for this section in particular will be very useful. I mean, like, the last section is definitely very snipey, but you don't necessarily need a sniper for it, but having a sniper for that last section is super useful. But even for these beginning sections, just being able to snipe enemies is a godsend. But yeah, no, for this section here, this is a little bit tricky, this little underground section, but honestly a little easier than I was expecting it to be if you know what to do, and also if you just have the resources for it. So there's going to be pretty much 4 enemies that you can pretty much take down from here. However, 3 of them, or potentially 4 of them, in fact, in this walkthrough, it's going to be 4 of them. They're all going to be like head crab monsters, so when you like snipe their head off, they're going to be head crab monsters. But instead of killing them there, just leave them as head crab monsters for when you actually go down there yourself. However, this section is also deceptive because, you know, from here you can see 4 enemies, but there's actually 5 enemies. And the fifth one, I just don't know how to snipe him. Maybe he's just impossible to snipe and only spawns when you actually go underground yourself. But once you're here, try to gather all these head crab enemies in one location so that you can take them all out with one flashbang. So yeah, save a flash grenade for this section in particular, because just the amount of ammo you have to waste to kill all of them is a little ridiculous. And also just running away from all of them is also like pretty tough. So just being able to take them all out in one fellow swoop is very useful. And be sure to really gather them all together in one location, because you could throw a flashbang and potentially the flash just doesn't reach all of them. So you have to use 2 flashbangs, and that's just a waste of resources. So this is a tricky section for that alone. But once you take them all out, you're pretty much like home free. Just, you know, be sure to watch out for the one enemy you didn't snipe before. And now you can just kind of spend your time collecting resources. And just this section is going to have a lot of sections where enemies spawn in, they spawn out. So you're going to have to get familiar when they spawn in, when you have to take out certain enemies. But right now, you are safe. So while we're safe, I'm going to talk about memory again. So I really like the way sound works with the PS5 and this game. Like, I like when the sound comes out of my PS5 remote. It kind of reminds me of the good old days of the Nintendo Wii. And this is kind of where my memory comes in. I'm not 100% sure if the PS4 ever did stuff like this. I don't remember the PS4 ever having its remote play out like a Nintendo Wii. Like, I don't remember any games that had sounds just come out of the PS4. Like, maybe they did, and I just don't remember it. But yeah, just remembering that. And okay, so once you insert the wheel into this mechanism here, an enemy is going to spawn. And here, like, the enemy spawns get a little unpredictable, but not too unpredictable. But I think if you don't do things a certain way, things can get a little dicey. So while I'm, like, pretty much spinning this wheel around, an enemy is going to spawn in or jump in from the other side of the map there. And I'm just going to take this opportunity to kill them. I don't know how helpful it is to just kill them here. Like, I'm pretty sure you can also wait it out and more enemies will spawn in. But if more enemies spawn in, things get a little too chaotic to kind of, like, arrange with a red barrel. I'm just going to take this time to kill one enemy with this red barrel, though if you want to get a little more risky with it, thank you Ashley for ducking my shot there. If you didn't, you would die. There's actually been, I mean, I've uploaded little memes where Ashley does just straight up run into my gunfire for no reason, or just because she got a little stressed out or didn't see that I was unloading a TMP. So yeah, here half shotgun bullets, because 2 enemies are going to come in. The enemy almost kidnapped Ashley, and this enemy is going to turn into a bunch of worms, which the worms could hit Ashley, and if they hit Ashley, I have to run back and kind of deal with this entire room. And snipers have also spawned in. So yeah, same strategy as before. We're going to run into this door and wait for the enemies to come to us. We're going to kill all the enemies, and once we've killed all the enemies, we're going to take care of the archers and pretty much move on to like the final section. And this can be tough. There will be worms, there will be people with shields. And also just be sure to stay the worms are like the hardest part, because the worms have a long range attack. So sometimes they'll just run up to you and just go, and you can parry that long range attack, but I just don't, like, I don't know if it telegraphs the long range attack. Like, I don't know what animation it does to telegraph its attacks, because I just can't tell when it's coming, or it's just like way too fast with the attacks to really plan out for telegraphs. And here I'm gonna play a little bit risky, like this enemy's actually going to go outside and it's gonna get a little wild. So I don't know exactly what strategy to talk about here aside from constantly run, get lucky. Like, that enemy, if the hit detection felt like it, could have grabbed me. And here, whenever you backstab an enemy, you do have slight iframes, but after that you don't have any iframes. So just keep running. So yeah, there's going to be archers all around, so I'm just kind of running in a circle. I'm also trying to avoid any enemies along the field. There's still like an enemy at the wheel. You do have to like insert the wheel into like the little center mechanism there to do anything. But yeah, I'm just going to run back. And also, when you're opening the door or closing the door, I don't ever think you close a door. You only really open doors and go through them. I don't think there's an ability to actually close a door yourself. You just kind of have to wait for the door to close on its own. But yeah, when you're opening doors, I'm pretty sure you have iframes. So yeah, there's just like the iframes. Yeah, you see that long range attack? Like, that attack is so good at catching you off guard and like pretty much ruining your no damage. But yeah, no, let me talk about something else relating to combat. So you can, you can begin reloading your weapon, crouch under something that needs to be crouched under, and you'll finish your reload while crouched. But I don't think you could like start a reload while crouched under something you must be crouched under. Like, I mean, I hope that makes sense the way I'm saying it. Like, this game doesn't have that many, this game has very few situations where like you must crouch under something, and also whenever you're like crouched under something, you can't use your weapons either. But yeah, in that specific situation, you can't reload your weapons. But if you reload your weapon before you crouch under that thing, and you crouch under that thing while reloading your weapon, you'll finish the reload. So yeah, there's gonna be 2 archers that spawn in from this location. If you follow my exact path I took before, there's gonna be one here which we're going to snipe, and there's gonna be one in a new location which we have not had to deal with before. And here I'm just getting very unlucky with my sniper shots, just missing them. Just the enemy has a lot more health. This enemy here has a ridiculous amount of health. Like I don't know if it's just that I missed too many of my shots, but like I have to like waste an entire clip just to kill this archer. Like the archer's gonna be a little inconsistent sometimes, because sometimes they'll die from 2 shots and sometimes they'll die from 10. And at this current time I have not upgraded any of my weapons. They're all at their base levels, and if that changes later in this video, well, I guess you just have to watch and find out. But yeah, look at that. Like, didn't I just like unload like 6 to 8 shots on this enemy? Like I missed that shot, but it took like 9 bullets to kill him. Like I don't know how many shots specifically I missed, but I feel like I've landed enough for that enemy to be dead a lot earlier than they died before.
Big deal.
Awesome.
A different detail that I really like about this like remake's version of this area is that those fountains are just like pitch black. They're just shooting up like black goo. Like there's no way that's water. Like that's just ridiculous, but it looks awesome. It like kind of scares the fuck out of me, because in the original game there wasn't really anything like that, at least from my memory. Like the original game, like the reds were very bright, you know, like the whites, you know, like the place was like well lit, while here the place is like dingily lit. You know, you see, look at these lights here. Like they're not lighting up much of anything. They're like, you know, in Minecraft where you place torches really far away from each other and there's like just these like these circles. There's a word for this. There's just like this darkness in between each like light spot. Like look at that, that's happening here, except it's like in HD. Though to be fair, if you download certain mods, you can also make Minecraft HD. Though mind you, I have not played Minecraft in a long ass while, and spoiler alert, I also never beat Minecraft. I mean, you don't exactly ever beat Minecraft, though there is main story content kind of with the whole Ender Dragon thing. What I'm trying to say is I never beat the Ender Dragon. Another thing I'm trying to say is I never got the orbs to like, you know, summon the Ender Dragon portal. And another thing I'm trying to say is I did go to the Nether though. I just never did those like Nether fortresses. Like that's just scary, man. But one day I'll do it maybe. No damage, I doubt it, but one day I will do it. Though there are people who do runs on like hardcore where if you die once, you die forever. I don't know if they ever done runs where you're not allowed to take damage or have save points or something. I don't know if people have done runs like that. Okay, but let me get back to actually talking about the game I'm playing instead of other games. So one thing I need to talk about is, okay, so those head crab looking parasite enemies introduced in chapter 7 can actually shoot black goo at you. And the reason I learned this is that in the castle, you know, in this final battle, you know, downstairs, I accidentally got hit by one because I didn't know they were charging up like a big black goo thing at me, and I got hit by it and I got really mad. I had to do the whole thing over again. So for this section here, since I have sniper bullets, I'm just sniping the people upstairs, but whenever you're dealing with the people upstairs, you're gonna get 2 waves of enemies trying to kill you here. Thankfully, it's only 2 waves, so pretty much you deal with this wave, and then, you know, you get back to like rescuing Ashley, and sooner or later, the second wave is gonna come up. But once you deal with the second wave, you don't have to deal with them anymore, you just have to focus on the people upstairs. And oh my goodness, this section right here is fucking miserable. So like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I spent like an entire day locked inside trying to like no damage this big fight, you know, in chapter 7, and like I didn't do it in that day. Like I failed to do it despite the fact that I spent like the whole day doing it. And then I spent a few hours the next day on it and I did it, but like I fucking hate this final stretch. We have to defend Ashley. It's like so miserable. Like there's just a bajillion enemies trying to like kidnap her here. And mind you, I got really lucky with my ammo because I made certain decisions in like my previous like no damage, you know, the no damages of chapter 1 through 6, which have just given me like a ton of pistol ammo, and I'm gonna waste most of it here. I'm still gonna have a lot by the end of this, but most of it is gonna be gone. But if you don't have a ton of ammo like during this section, you're kind of fucked here, because like on my first playthrough of this game, when I was just playing this game normally, like this was horrible. Like like no matter how many times I shot the enemy, like I just run out of ammo. And this section just kind of makes me regret getting this game on the PS5 instead of like PC or something, even though if I got it on PC, it probably wouldn't run the best. I mean, I got it on PS5 because I wanted like a consistent 1080p 60 FPS. The Steam Deck was only going to give me like a consistent, maybe a consistent 720p 60 FPS. I have heard that this game runs surprisingly well on the Steam Deck, but you know, it would be 720p, it wouldn't be 1080p, and I wanted the somewhat best quality for what I've got. But you know, at least on PC I'd have mouse control, and like all this aiming stuff wouldn't be nearly as difficult as it is on the PS5. Like, the way I'm no damaging this right now is incredibly messy, and I miss a ton of shots, I waste a ton of ammo, and usually when I'm really desperate, something I would do is I'd pretty much just throw like a flash grenade onto like the big stage to pretty much like stun the enemies and kind of give me a little bit more time to kill the rest of them with pistol ammos. Now what really sucks is if you don't have pistol ammos, throwing like a flash grenade there isn't really going to help you much because it just delays the enemies, it doesn't stop them. So if you have like 0 ammo to like kill the enemies after you throw that flash grenade, then the enemy's just gonna get her again and you have to throw another flash grenade. But once you throw enough flash grenades, you run out of flash grenades and you just have to let the whole thing play out the way it's going to play out. Like, that exact scenario happened to me like 5 or 7 times when I was like playing the game normally. And also, I mean, no damaging, not so much, because during this no damage I had a buttload of ammo, so it was less an issue of ammo and more an issue of when do I shoot the ammo, when do I reload, because if you reload at the wrong time, the enemy will just be in the doorway and Ashley will get kidnapped and it'll just be over. And I actually threw a grenade trying to stop them, but the grenade missed. But also, if the grenade is too close to Ashley, Ashley just dies because, you know, you threw a grenade right next to her. Like, of course she's going to die from a grenade. Like, oh my goodness, I despise this section. Like, there's still more enemies to shoot down and kill. Like, just an utterly like terrible section. But at the very least, like, the waves below aren't infinite, so they have run out. And there was something else I wanted to mention, but I forget exactly what it was, because right now I've kind of run out of stuff to say on my outline. I don't know, usually like there's certain points I want to like talk about on my outline, but right now I've kind of hit a stop until we reach a certain point in chapter 10, but it is chapter 7 right now. I do have some thoughts on chapters 8 and 9, and just there's certain changes it brings. For example, this game seems to be generally longer than the original, because I'm just like comparing, like, I mean, just chapters 1 through 12 here, combine them together, and they're almost longer than my, they are longer than my original video, just the entire game. So this game is longer, or I'm just very slow in certain sections. And I don't know exactly how the game did it. I mean, I can kind of understand how the game did it for chapters 1 through 6, but for this castle section here, like, there's just a couple really memorable like set pieces that are just gone here. So I guess they either elongated like certain previous set pieces. For one, I think the set piece here at the end of chapter 7 has been elongated, because the original game, they used, also I re-looked at footage of my original like Resident Evil 4 No Damage, the one on the Wii, and the water there is black. They just didn't have it like shooting up like a fountain in this remake, and I really like that they added that. It just makes everything look a little bit more oppressive. But yeah, no, there's like a new set piece where you have to go underground and you have to like snipe the head crab people. While in the original game, that underground section was a lot smaller and was just kind of like, you go downstairs, there's a little room where you have to like put Ashley on one of the blocks, and then you have to go to like another block and stand there, and that does something, and then more enemies spawn, so you just kind of kill them in the room and then you walk out of there. Like, this new set piece is a lot more expansive. You have to like kind of like navigate this new area. I think it's cooler. Though, however, I probably mentioned this in my previous video, but like these chapter end screens are just so lame compared to the original games. Like, the original game had all these like jittery effects and just kind of created this nice vibe, while here it's just a straight up black screen. It's just like, man, it's not the same. So here I'm going to kill all the fish in this pond. I'm also going to steal a beetle inside the walls so I can sell it later and make big bucks. But yeah, so there's a really big bass, and then there's 2 smaller basses, and I'm going to shoot all of them. So, okay, that's a tricky fish right there, and these fish are really useful. Okay, it might have been a little bit more than 3, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, you pretty much, also the kind of grab detection for these fish is a little wonky, because sometimes I spam the grab the fish button, and the game doesn't let me grab the fish, so it is a little tricky like that. And also, in re-looking at footage of my original Resident Evil 4, like, you know, Wii Edition No Damage, I think just killing the head crab enemies was more satisfying in the original game. Like, okay, they've expanded these enemies in this game. They've made them like tougher. They have new moves. They can like stick to the ceiling in this game, which is sick. But when you shoot them, like in the original game, like their head, like the head crab thing shrank like a lot. You know, it kind of like shrank to a really tiny degree, and then it grew again. It's kind of like a squash animation effect. I don't know. It's a really cool, like, it just feels so satisfying to shoot them, even if you don't kill them. Like, you know, just like, it's like, I don't know, it's like a balloon. It just kind of like shrinks and expands, like, and in this game that just doesn't happen. You kind of shoot it, and it kind of feels like you're shooting a sponge of sorts. You know, like it's like a spongy no damage, and also, okay, so I didn't do this on my own. I did look at like people's walkthroughs of this game, so I do want to shout out a couple YouTubers because I did not know that you could like practically stealth this entire section, or just stealth it up to the point where you get the item and you can just run out of there like no consequence. So what you do is you pretty much snipe that one guy there, and you know, sniping that one guy, none of the enemies are going to notice you until you enter the area for some reason. Like this is not the last time I do this. This is going to work a second time in another area, but just follow the path I'm following. You know, stab the individuals which I'm stabbing. You don't even have to crouch. They'll do it in the beginning when you're like about to reach the stairs. I do recommend crouching because there's been moments where I don't crouch and I get spotted. Like, I mean, sometimes you don't crouch and you, like, there's been times where I don't crouch and I get spotted, and there's also been times where I don't crouch and I don't get spotted. Wait. There's times where I don't crouch and I get spotted, and there's times where I don't crouch and I don't get spotted. Okay, so I am saying it correctly. So like it's just a little bit of an inconsistency. It's a bit of an inconsistency I like to avoid, which is crouching in the beginning and only standing up once I reach the stairs. And then from here on out, we're just pretty much just keep walking slowly. Don't run, because once you run, they'll notice you. This is like a little insane. Like the game really lets you do this. Okay, so like one way which, you know, this game in all of its sections is a bit longer is that not only do they like change up or elongate certain sections, for the sections that they do remove from the original, they replace them with brand new sections, like this kind of stealthy section here. You don't have to play it stealthy, but playing it stealthily means you get this like key item and you just run out of there. Like you don't even have to kill the rest of the enemies. And okay, at this point you can also still stealth it. Like if you jump down the stairs here, like if you time it right, the enemy won't be facing you and you can backstab them. But I kind of timed it badly, but it doesn't even matter because I can just run out of there. Like, boom, there's the escape. This is where I put the item, and the enemies aren't really going to be too aggressive in chasing me, and yeah, it's over. You can stealth the entire thing, get what you need, and get out of there, which works out really well for me because I have, like, 0 ammo. Like, I don't know, if I actually had to, like, waste a lot of my bullets, I would not have anything for the very next room because, well, the previous Chapter 7, like, combat sequence pretty much screwed me over, so it's just a really nicely designed section, you know? Like, you can just skip it if you really want to. And I will skip it, because I just did. So I hope I've picked up all the rocks by this point, because yeah, you need all the rocks for this puzzle. And for this puzzle in particular, you kind of have to notice 2 things. So 1, there's the color, 2, there's the symbol. Okay, it was actually 3 things. So it's like 1, there's the color, 2, there's the symbol, and 3, there is the shape. So like they're either a hexagon, or they're either a square, they're either blue, or they're either red, or they're either, you know, a shield or a helmet. And once you know these 3 things, then you'll better understand this puzzle, though right now I am still kind of finickier with it. I don't know exactly which tiles to move for like a speed run, but overall it is a pretty simple puzzle. So I was just thinking back, so I mentioned before that like in that ending like Chapter 7 fight, there's a point where in the original game on the Wii, you had to like, you know, stop Ashley and like place her on like a big button she has to stand on to move it. This game, the remake, doesn't really have any puzzles like that. Okay, it had like one puzzle where you have to force her to sit somewhere, but the way she sits at that location is a contextual action. It's not like a command you could do, because in this game you still have the command to like make Ashley stay like, you know, further away from you or stay close to you, but I don't think there's I don't know if she like fully stops. There's never a point where like you can make actually like fully stop somewhere. And to be fair, do you ever really need it in this game? No, because any puzzle that requires it is kind of gone. And this game still has contextual stuff like shoving her in dumpsters and stuff, so she can stay safe during certain like action scenes. I mean, action segments. But it's just, it's not the same as the original game. And two, this is something which I mentioned in my original video. But wait, hold on. There was also another thing I wanted to mention. So yeah, I'm actually going to be mentioning 3 things, not 2 things, so I have lied. Actually, I'm going to be mentioning 4 things because once you make this thing, you push it there's going to be an enemy that shows up. I actually forget exactly how I deal with this enemy. Oh, I'm just going to use the shotgun. Yeah, because if you have shotgun bullets, it's pretty much the best way to deal with it. So you kind of got this little head crab thing. This is the introduction of the head crab thing. These enemies are a pain in the ass, believe me. But yeah, no. The second thing is you will have noticed that throughout this video, I'll stop doing commentary and I'll make the game audio louder. And the reason I do this is because, I don't know, it just adds a nice pace to the video, I think. And since I don't always have things to talk about in this video, like, sometimes I'll just let the game play out, or sometimes I'll do it because something sounds kind of cool. Because, I don't know, usually in my shorter videos, I never stop talking. Well, one, because for some of those certain videos, it's a good way to avoid copyright. Like getting copyright claimed, you just make the commentary louder than your video and your video doesn't get copyright claimed. So for the no commentaries, like they'll get copyright claimed, but for at least for the commentary, that doesn't happen because my commentary is so loud and it never ends. But since I don't have to worry about getting copyright claimed with this game, I don't have to do that, and this game is longer, so on my shorter videos, like my outline, I'll still have things to say and not be done talking, so I have to constantly get talk and be really quick with it. But here, not so much. I kind of have a lot of breathing room, per se. So yeah, this is also another new section the game has added, but before I talk about this new section, I'm going to talk about the third thing. So the third thing is, I got back into my push-up workout for this game, where pretty much every time I take damage, I do 15 push-ups, and over the course of doing that, I've managed to do like almost 100 push-ups a day. It kind of varies. Sometimes things get in the way of that, but yeah, I'm just back to the workout with this game, and once I try to no damage chapters 13 through 15, I will be doing that again, and I will be able to do more push-ups. I'm kind of trying to aim for the goal of being able to do 100 push-ups consecutively. Like, mind you, I do 100 push-ups throughout the day, but not consecutively. So yeah, pretty much flashbang, and then you kind of run past them, you get to the stairs, you move that thing, and then you're going to throw a grenade through this crack in the gate. This part is a pain in the ass, because, you kind of want to aim it a little higher, because, the arc isn't 100% accurate. Sometimes, the arc will show you that it'll go through the gate, and it doesn't go through the gate, but it has to go through the gate. It has to be on the right, and that will let you do this big skip here, so you don't have to mess around with whatever you have to mess around with before. Run to the left here. There's going to be an archer there. They're going to wait for you. The guy before the archer is a little dangerous, and then boom, El Gigante. This is the introduction to El Gigante, so yeah. This is a new section. Honestly, this new section is a little too action-y for my tastes. I don't know, it's just it's a little... Honestly, I would have preferred to just shoot enemies at the little dragon tower. Oh yeah, by the way, the dragon tower section, with the fiery volcano stuff, is just gone. So yeah, pretty much you have to kind of wait out the El Gigante's rock throwing stuff. And while you're waiting out El Gigante's rock throwing stuff, pretty much you have to take cover in certain select areas. And here, I like to shotgun the enemy that's hiding in the corner, because if you don't immediately shoot that enemy, the enemy just grabs you. And also it's good to have shotgun bullets for the enemy with the shield. And from here on out, this is also a safe area. There's going to be a couple enemies over there, the archers, so just take care of them, because the reason you need to take care of the archers at this point is because the next piece of cover is in a place where the archers can just immediately shoot you, so it's just best to take care of them here and now. And oh yeah, I needed to mention a certain YouTuber. I need to shout out this certain YouTuber, so just let me do that right now. Yeah, no, the YouTuber I have to shout out is Pro Solo Gaming. Their kind of S+ rank, no damage professional walkthrough has pretty much helped me through a lot. And while I've mentioned it in my previous video, and I'm going to include it in the title of this video, this is done on professional. It is the hardest difficulty of the game. It's also the hardest difficulty of the original game, though the one difference between this game and the original game is that in the original game, there was no hardcore mode or beginner mode per se. I think there's a beginner mode in this game. But yeah, no, those modes are not in this game, and the rocks pretty much slaughtered that guy, which is very nice. And also, a fun fact about Leon in this game specifically. Did you know, okay, I thought there was going to be a Viper there, but did you know, yeah, this is Did You Know Gaming right now. Did you know that the jeans which Leon is wearing right now are actually Japanese salvage denim? Now you may be asking, what is Japanese salvage denim? Well, here's a little bit of a lore dump for you. The lore behind this is that Japan used to make jeans using these old mills. And the process of these old mills means that it kind of was a bit slow, but it was high quality, and the seaming made it that it kind of loops around back in on itself. But once America pretty much went, and also America used to kind of have this old mill system, but once America entered a bit of a mass production phase, they sold all the old mills to other parties, including Japan. So now, while Japan isn't the only place which does like salvage denim jeans anymore, they are one of the best purely because they've mastered the industry, because America has stopped caring about it. I made that up. That's not true at all about Leon. Leon bought these jeans for $20. Now, what I said about Japanese denim, is that true? Maybe? I don't know. Okay, so that little thing I said about El Gigante like intro being here, that's just completely wrong. He gets introduced in like the previous section of the game. This is just the first time he shows up in the castle, which pretty much, I think it's a little lame that this is the first time he shows up in the castle. But okay, now we've reached this section, and what we want to do is pretty much you have to like shoot certain yellow balls to make the cannon go up, and we're gonna need the cannon upstairs. And also just kill this enemy here. Like, you could just maybe run past the enemy and then shoot the enemy later with a cannon, but frankly, it's a little annoying. And also, you have to time this. You have to time this right, because okay, so that piece of cover up there does not help at all. Like, I don't know, I've stood behind that piece of cover and the rock still hit me, and it was a pain in the ass. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna bait like a rock throw, and then once the rock throw has been baited, I'm gonna use the cannon to pretty much blast the big giant away. And you know, if you didn't kill the enemy beforehand, then you can turn the cannon all the way behind you to shoot them anyways. And there's our objective. We have to get to the door there and pretty much take them out. And see, I wasn't 100% sure if the enemy was or wasn't going to show up behind me, so I went to look and they weren't there, so I went back to kind of shooting the enemies. Then we shoot the door, and we're pretty much done with this section. And as of this moment right now, I'm not exactly sure what to mention. Like, I don't know. Honestly, I should probably talk about how the music compares to the original game, but really right now, I can't give you a full analysis of that. Honestly, I think I'm planning on saving that conversation for the third part of my video, chapters like pretty much 13 to 15. And it is a little funny though, I will say that. I mean, so there's chapters 1 through 6, which encompass the village section. Then there's chapters 7 through 12, which encompass the castle section. And then there's chapters 13 through 15. Okay, you seeing the funny little issue there? Like, it's a much smaller section of chapters to encompass like the entire third section of the game, which is just, you know, it's a bit humorous, because I mean, okay, the original Resident Evil 4, like, you know, it kind of split up its things kind of evenly, but also kind of not evenly. Like, let me explain. It's a little bit weird to explain. Okay, so you have like the first 2 chapters of Resident Evil 4 original on GameCube or Wii, though I prefer the Wii edition, where pretty much you have 1/1, 1/2, 1/3, and then once you move past that, now you go to 2/1, 2/2, and 2/3. But then something happens at chapter 3 here. So then you have, so pretty much like that section encompasses the village, and it's like 1 and 2, and they go up in increments of 3, you know, 1/1, 1/2, 1/3, 2/1, 2/2, 2/3. But then you get to 3, and it's 3/1, 3/2, 3/3, 3/4. This section is part of the castle. And then you have 4/1, 4/2, 4/3, and 4/4, which now we've moved up into increments of 4. And then you get to the island section, and then now we're at 5/1, 5/2, 5/3, 5/4, and then 6/1, 6/2. Wait, I don't fully remember this. Like, did we go to 6/4 in the original game, or did we just stop at 6/2? Honestly, I think I might just have Resident Evil 5 on the mind. Wait, no, Resident Evil 5 also ended with like 6/4, because honestly, if I ever no damage Resident Evil 5, I think I'll just talk about it when we get there. But I considered it, like I beat Resident Evil 5, and then I was like, now I have to no damage it. I have to play with someone co-op to do it, and I just didn't want to do it. It was too much of a pain in the ass in my head. So instead, I'm doing the remake of Resident Evil 4, so hey, we're here. And yeah, so right there, there's going to be a Viper here, so kill it, even though you don't technically need to kill it. And for this section here, you kind of have to learn where the dog spawns and all that. and also just which path to take for like the most efficient run. So yeah, at this point here, there's gonna be a dog that kind of spawns there, and if you don't immediately kill that dog, the dog runs away and kind of hides somewhere, and it just becomes a bit of a more difficult task. So if you run down this path here, this is just to get extra goodies, like no dogs are gonna spawn, you can be completely safe. Like, I don't really know how to fully explain my path here. It just kind of takes a lot of practice and running it through to like fully get the rhythms down and know exactly when you need to do certain things. Okay, so like the first flag with the first tower, which I raised a flag for, is the one right in the beginning, you know, like the beginning area. And then here we're gonna go towards the flag that's near the water fountain, I think. And for this here, snipe them, pull out the shotgun, boom, boom, and then stab them afterwards. So I mentioned before that weapon switching is kind of slow, but in this instance it wasn't. I mean, I just snipered, shotgun, shot the dog, boom, bam, pow, very nice. Like, I know usually I like to throw a grenade at this cage, but honestly I don't have that many grenades to throw, and for this cage specifically I don't really need to throw the grenade. It's the next cage which is going to be difficult. So yeah, once you run down that hallway, a dog's going to pop out, and then here, snipe the dog over there. There's going to be a dog over here that once you get to a certain point, it's going to jump over the fence. The way the dog lands is kind of weird, so just kind of learn its landing position. And here we're going to run to get some treasure. No dogs are going to spawn at this point. You're safe at for now you're safe. There's going to be some later sections where dog spawns get a little weird, a little scary. And I believe here there's going to be... Oh no, right now you are also completely safe. We've pretty much reached the tower, and we can pretty much pull this down. Boom, bam, pow. And we got the second flag. And for the third flag, I think we're just kind of running in a way where we're kind of looping in on ourselves. So we can pretty much open the door over there, open up the third flag. But when we open this door, nothing happens, but the area we're about to enter is kind of doggish territory. And here, the dog which we shot through the fence, we're going to collect the materials we got by killing that dog, and also just break that crate, get more materials. Like, see, you have to remember like where to go, how to go without checking the mini map. You know, you have to get a feel for the area. Like, this isn't the most confusing area, but like, I mean, you know, and there, boom, like in this little hallway there, a dog spawns, so be careful for that. And then the next area, there's a dog cage, and if you run a little too far ahead to the dog cage, or if you just wait it out too long, then the dog is going to spawn. And one of these dogs is going to be like a super dog that like requires more bullets or requires you to stab it. I've had situations where I throw the grenade and it kills every single dog, but that doesn't tend to happen, so just watch out. And here we have to like kind of pull a little lever, but once we get to a certain point in this area, another dog is going to spawn. Like, once we try to like return here, a dog is going to spawn and try to kill us, and this may be the last dog we have to deal with. So yeah, if you follow my paths like correctly, boom, we've taken care of all the dogs, except for a certain dog that tries to like chase you once you try to escape this area, but you know, you're escaping the area, so escaping that dog isn't the biggest issue ever. And here we just have a little viper in our case, which is, you know, it's cute, it's there. And here we're about to pull out the last flag. However, once we pull on this last flag, we have to deal with a bit of an enemy wave, and the enemy wave is a little annoying because like they spawn from behind you and in front of you when you're trying to like rescue Ashley, and it's just like... But this is pretty much like the best path to take if you want to, like, you know, no damage and all that.
Yours.
Ashley, run!
So here what I think I'm doing is I'm waiting for everyone to kind of like crawl under me, because if I jump too early, then when I'm trying to run, and oh, see, I still jump too early because there's still people chasing behind me. So honestly, I just recommend like wait for everyone to kind of like run past you, then jump off, so that when you're running, there's no one really behind you. And there I just stabbed Ashley, but she's kind of like bulletproof, so she kind of survives that. Like, Ashley doesn't have a health bar anymore. She's like fully invincible. She just kind of gets stunned. And anytime, you know, you get a game over because of Ashley, it's because she fell asleep. And if she falls asleep, the virus takes over her. She doesn't die because she's actually immortal. The president kind of like built her that way with the whole like immortal ballistics and all that. But yeah, no, like this part's kind of annoying because the enemies can kind of sneak up on you. But if you position yourself well, you know, use the shotgun in a very intelligent manner, then you're good. But once you try to like run up the stairs to escape the place, see, like, I mean, I was talking about like pattern recognition and trying to memorize the maze, but even I got lost in the maze trying to escape. So here I'm just trying to like figure a way out because like I'm not 100% sure how to get out. Yeah, pretty much once you run up these stairs, there's gonna be some dogs behind you. I'm not sure if I turn the camera to face the dogs. I don't think I do. I think I just kind of run forward and don't look back, because why would I want to look back? I need to escape the dogs, but there will be some dogs chasing after you. I don't know if you really get any reward for trying to go back and kill the dogs, but yeah. Oh, wait. There's something else I wanted to mention. So remember that like chapter Chapter 8, like the final battle of Chapter 8 with El Gigante and all that. Okay, actually, there's just like this little side quest you can do where you could run back all the way to like El Gigante when you meet up with Ashley again, you know, like in the little house before you go and fight the dogs and stuff. If you backtrack all the way to the towers, there's actually like secret treasures to get, and there's like new enemies waiting for you, and you know, in order to take you down, it's like a whole new challenge, you know. I don't know if it's like connected to a side quest, but there is like a new treasure chest you can get. There is new treasures. So I mean, I don't know if the original game had stuff like that, but this game, it does have it. I mean, mind you, this game also has like new mini bosses, but this isn't exactly a new mini boss. It's just like you can revisit the previous area, the enemies will still be populating it, and there's new treasures. And here, did I just buy the rocket launcher? I do not think I just bought the rocket launcher, but I did upgrade my case. And I guess here's the one thing that worries me. So throughout my no damage here, I've been visiting the shooting range because I really want the thing which gives you a discount on the rocket launcher. But doing this also kind of wastes time, though not too much time, because pretty much the way I do this is I practice it until I can get an S rank on the 3 that are available, and then I try to do the 3 of them, get an S rank for the 3 of them, and do that all in one run. And then like, well, okay, the whole getting the S rank thing in one run, before I do that, I also experiment with combinations of spending the silver and gold coins to see which combination will give me the best collectibles. And well, for the most part, they don't give me the rocket launcher one, because like, it took a long ass while to like acquire the rocket launcher one. I do acquire the rocket launcher like discount like charm, but like honestly, it took way too much time. I think I got it too late in the game. I really would have appreciated it if I got it earlier. Like I mentioned it in the previous video, but like the RNG for it is just weird. Like I don't know, it's like it's not fully RNG, because like once you're locked into a save, you're always gonna get the same like drops. But if you play like a different game, like, you know, if you do like a new game and run through the whole game again, you'll probably get like a new RNG drop. But once you save in that new game, then the drops are all automatically like will always be the same. So there's a consistency to it, but the consistency is not always consistent like in the grand scheme of things, but like in a battle sense, it's always going to be consistent. And it's a pain in the ass when I don't get the consistent drops that I want specifically.
It's not like you're very good. Triple kill! It's a bullet bonanza! Fire everything you've got! Incredible! Very good! Triple kill! Double kill! That'll do it! A perfect performance.
Like that music is just incredible. Like honestly, the little guitars and like the person singing just kind of reminds me like the intro music of the original game, and I'm not 100% sure if that music like fully returns in this new game. And now I'm going to talk about something completely unrelated. So like, I mean, I think I kind of talked about it in the previous video to like a good amount, you know, comparing the gun sounds from the original game to this new game, but I was just kind of fixated. Okay, so right now I don't have the striker weapon, but later in this video I will be getting the striker weapon. How much later, I'm not 100% sure, but I was just like looking at me using like the striker in the original game, and it's just like, that's such a satisfying click, and I don't think I got the same click in this new game. Like, it's still a satisfying weapon to like spam in this new game. It's just like the original game, it's just so classic, you know? Part of it might be nostalgia, part of it might be so-and-so. So yeah, like here, this is the one where we have to use the shotgun and the TMP at the same time. So usually you'd use the TMP when the sailors aren't around, because the shotgun has like spread, so it's really good for capturing multiple targets. But if the sailors are part of the targets, then that's kind of an issue. And yeah, you can still get S rank in these things while shooting some of the sailors. Mind you, not all the sailors, but you can still get S rank for shooting some of the sailors. And like the next time I visit the shooting range here, it's gonna be a little bit of a pain in the ass. You'll see why when we get there. But for right now, that's the game, and I guess we'll move on to talking about something else. Though I do want to mention, I really love the colors of the bonus stage. Just kind of like these little bright, like just switching lights. I don't know exactly what party mood it's invoking, but like I really love that. And I mean, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the previous video, but these like shooting ranges are kind of like one of the only times where the game has like a hard cut to a loading screen, because most of this game is seamless. Like all the areas are seamlessly connected. Every time you open a door, you're like opening it and it's like a new area. You know, there's no like loading screen or loading areas like in the original game. But for these shooting ranges, there is a sharp divide. So whenever you go to a shooting range, you kind of get teleported to like a Bizarro realm. So here for this section, once again, there are blue medallions. You kind of have to memorize where they are. And also I'm going to get this treasure here. So the first blue medallion is behind me. The second blue medallion is behind this statue. And there's going to be a couple one here. And here, Ashley shoves herself in front of the camera. Get out of here. I don't want this video demonetized. So, boom. Third blue medallion. And here we're going to do this little puzzle. And we're going to kill the rats, actually. So, it's funny. So, you can kill 3 rats, but 2 of the rats can only be killed in this chapter. No, only 2 rats can be killed in this chapter. And the third one can only be killed in the next chapter. And here I got really lucky. I got a spinel. And that spinel is going to come in handy later on, because I do need to get a certain upgrade. But yeah, now we go, boom, that's the third blue medallion. It's in this room behind there. And for the puzzle, I've already set up Ashley right where she needs to be, and also Leon right where he needs to be. And we're right here, and yes, so in my previous video, I talked a lot about the whole Mousely trend, and it's kind of fucked up how you're killing, like, rats, like, you know, Mousely's family in front of Mousely. And I was like, do you actually do that in front of Mousely? And yes, you do. Here we go. This is the chapter where you do it. You're just slaughtering like relatives. So here is another blue medallion. So you kind of have to run up, shoot the blue medallion there. And now we're going to do the knights. I kind of like to do the knights second, just kind of in the middle before doing the other part, because this is the hardest part of like the 3 things you have to do in this chapter as Leon, because there is a character switch later on. And the 5th blue medallion will be right behind this thing here, so get it there. And then we're going to jump down, collect all the materials in the arena, and kind of prepare for the big knight fight. So this is like a pretty faithful recreation of the original game, though it has been made moodier. The arena... Okay, one thing which I don't like about this new rendition is that they removed a little bit of the Scooby-Doo-ness of this like little combat scenario, because in the original game, you know how there's like 6 knights set up here? Well, in the original game, it was more like 3 knights were set up. You destroy the 3 knights, and then suddenly the place where the knights were would like flip around, you know, like a Scooby-Doo trap, and then 3 more knights would be revealed. But I guess to keep it more serious, they just have all the knights set up, and also made the arena bigger as a result. So what I do here is I snipe this one which comes out, and I just try to kill it from there. And yeah, it's the one on the left. And then okay, so one thing which the TMP is really good for is that it's really good at just stunning these big knights. And then once I stun them and the worms come out, I take out the worms with the shotgun. And now here, okay, so when you take the lion head, the first 2 knights actually will spawn by the lion head to run away from the lion head, but the next 2 will pretty much spawn directly away from the lion head. So pretty much to kind of get yourself in position, try to snipe the one on the right, because the one on the left can't really be sniped because their weakness is behind them. And then you just kind of have to hope that Ashley throws it at the exact right moment, because if she throws it like at a bad moment or uses it too much, you might end up getting screwed. Because I don't know, there's like some really convenient like stuns she can do with the blue fire, and then there's just like some stuns that are just a little bit overkill. Like she did not need to throw that one. She could have saved that second fire thing for like the next wave, because the next wave is the hardest wave, because you know you've just been dealing in 2s and now you're dealing in 3s, and there really isn't a good place, like a really solid place to like stand and snipe the enemies, because like there's one on the left, there's one in front of you, there's one on the right, so you're pretty much surrounded, so you pretty much have to like navigate around them. Though navigating around this lion head is really good because it kind of serves as a little bit of piece of cover, but yeah, no, the most ideal situation is if you can like stun the big, like, you know, the most strong knight there, because he's the one who has his weakness on the back, so he's the one who's like most inconvenient to take down. And I could have sworn that my kick hit them, so like I don't know why their weakness hasn't been exposed yet. So now you have to like run around and do this whole dilly-dally thing. We have to shoot on like their weakness behind them. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I waste a lot of time here. Like there probably is a more efficient way to take down this knight, but I just don't know. I'm just running around trying to like bait out an attack, and then, you know, once I bait out the attack, try to shoot their weakness behind them. Like this probably was easier on like with a mouse and keyboard, but whatever, we're just dealing with it. Because okay, the knight's attacks are kind of weird because I don't know if they like track you like in Dark Souls, but I swear sometimes they do. Like they'll run to the right and like their attack won't track you, but sometimes you'll run to the right and their attack actually like tracks you, and even though you're running away from them, it just follows you. So like and I'm talking about like the vertical attacks, because the horizontal attacks, they're always going to be horizontal. There's not much you can do about that. But sometimes the vertical attacks are really easy to dodge, and other times the vertical attacks just inconveniently get you, and they just kind of track you. Like when you're in Dark Souls 2 and you dodge, but while dodging, like the attack tracks you, that sort of stuff. Very annoying stuff. But whatever. The weakness is out, but now I'm gonna try to take out the weakness with the pistol, which has its own challenges, because this thing, not only can they hone in on you with their vertical sword attack, where they start dashing up at you, but now this parasite can do a long-range attack as well. And there's Ashley. She wasted all the fire things, so she can't do anything there except just stand around. But yeah, no, this is a pretty faithful encounter, but we pretty much keeping true to it. And okay, so sometimes you have the ability to stab an enemy, but instead of stabbing them, I just shoot them with my pistol, because it's all about resource management. Honestly, like, a pistol shot is less valuable than me stabbing someone, because, like, I mean, this game has made the knife, like, you know, have durability, so now even using the knife has its own, like, messed up sense of currency. No, not currency, like ammunition. So, like, knife ammunition is a lot more valuable than, like, pistol ammunition for me at this moment in time. Because I have a lot of pistol ammo. How much pistol ammo do I have? Pull out the pistol. I need to see that. Look at that. 8 bullets and 56 like bullets in clips and stuff. Okay, so I'm very bad at math, but pretty much that adds up to 64 bullets, right? Yeah? Yeah, it's 64 bullets. So yeah, the second rat is here. So we're going to get the cubic device, which is really useful for getting certain treasures. We kill the second rat, the third rat. Don't worry about the third rat. You can't really kill the third rat at all until the next chapter, so just kind of wait for that. And then we're going to open this door. Boom. Bam. And now we're going to do the third activity, which will either save a grenade, a heavy grenade, or a flashbang for this next section. And also, for this next section, we're going to run on the left here. Well, in the previous section, we ran on the right, because rounding on the right lets us get the blue medallion. And, oh yeah, by the way, there will be a blue medallion in this section, and we will be skipping this section by using a grenade. But you can also skip it with a flash grenade, a heavy grenade, but using a heavy grenade is kind of excessive. Like, I don't know what situation you'll have, like, a heavy grenade and not a grenade, because you don't really need to kill these people unless you want to. So pretty much throwing a grenade at that point will kill the enemy that makes the bridge lower, and then at this point, shoot the blue medallion there, and boom, we've solved the blue medallion pretty much side quest. Taking care of that. We're going to collect all the materials here, and actually what you want, you're going to want a grenade and a flashbang, because to pretty much escape, there's going to be a bunch of enemies here, and you could shoot them down, but it's a lot more convenient to just throw a flashbang and run past them, though I have screwed this up sometimes, but for the most part, this is a pretty easy section to skip. It saves a lot of time, and you don't really have to deal with anything downstairs. Once again, this section is a somewhat pretty faithful recreation of the original set piece in the original game. Though not 100% the same, it is somewhat faithful, except for the fact that you can't get a rocket launcher. In the original game, if you kind of ran around the bottom of the battlefield, there was this glass case you could break, and it would have an RPG, and for some reason they just removed that in this game, and that makes me really sad. I really wish you could just get a free RPG there. It made like the combat section worth it, but here, there's no reason to do anything. Yeah, once you get the 3 big things, now we're playing as Ashley, and Ashley now has an extended amount of gameplay, and also she just is a bit more useful. She can actually stun enemies with this like blue lamp. I mean, but in the original game on GameCube, there was actually this glitch. Honestly, I'm not sure if it was a glitch or a mod, but there's this glitch where if you stunned an enemy, you could do a suplex on them, but sadly in this game, you can't really do suplexes like that. And also, they've removed like the human enemies. The only enemies you deal with this time are knights. However, I'm also going to do a big skip here. So I'm playing on professional, and on professional difficulty for this puzzle, set the clock to 7 o'clock, and you pretty much like skip a big section of this section. And a fun thing about this chapter is I'm kind of doing it all in one go. Not the whole chapter, but pretty much like the 3 things you have to do as Leon and Ashley, I'm doing that all in one go, because for the most part this Ashley section is easy, but there's just one issue. You could get hit and you could die, and Ashley dies in 1 hit, and I mean I'm doing no damage anyway, so if I get hit, like that's already like, you know, death to me, because I'm gonna restart the whole thing. It is a bit time consuming though, because I mean Ashley's section is a little bit more cinematic, but it does have bits of gameplay by the end. But if you follow a certain path, you should be fine, but the knights could kind of screw you up. And there, a fun thing that happens is that, you know, you'll hear the knights coming, and if you look behind you, Ashley will have like a dialogue. She'll be like, "What the fuck?" But if you don't look behind you, Ashley doesn't like tweak out nearly as much. She doesn't have, it's kind of like an optional piece of dialogue if you decide to look back. So that's neat. So what you want to do here is pretty much like, you have to like swing these things down, and what I do is I just kind of do it from the beginning. So, you know, do the one on the left, do the one on the right, and when you do the one on the right, you can kind of sneak through here, and then once again, I'm going to go for the left one here. Is that once you run out of things to like run from, then you kind of have to start using the light, because you can use the light to stun the enemy. So I'm going to use the light once I get to this point, because by this point I'm going to be a little bit surrounded. Like previously I could kind of dash past the enemies if I was quick enough, but now I think it's best if I play it a bit more strategically, because I don't really have a good escape plan. So, you know, just gotta be careful, and then we run. And then once we get to a certain point in this hallway, we should be safe, I think. There's like that Golden Knight, which by the way, you can actually backtrack as Leon and fight that Golden Knight. It is a pain in the ass. I did it in my normal playthrough, but for this one, I didn't really need the extra spinels, so I just kind of skipped that. And for this puzzle, this is a big simplification from the puzzle you had to do as Ashley in the original game. But just like the original game, this puzzle, if you know what you're doing, you can just kind of follow a certain pattern and it pretty much solves itself. But yeah, no, like the puzzle in the Resident Evil 4 like original, when you're playing Ashley's like original section here, and here I'm doing something which is not very time efficient. I'm running towards the hallway because I thought the game would just auto-activate, but no, you have to collect this and then run towards the hallway. So just stick by this area to save time. And here I'm going for the cinematic view. Look at all those knights, they're getting ready, and now we're going back to the gameplay view. But yeah, no, in the original game, there was like this sliding block puzzle, which just, every time I do that puzzle normally, I get stuck for like 2 to 3 hours. Then I look up a walkthrough, and it's just like, you can solve it in 7 moves. So if you know the 7 moves, you pretty much just, it's easy peasy. But like, I was not smart enough to solve that on my own. Like, I am not good with those sliding block puzzles. Like, Rubik's Cubes are the death of me. Like, whenever I was like 9 or 10 or 12 or something, I used to have like 3 or 4 separate Rubik's Cube things. I just kind of mix them around. I never solved them, and then they like die and go somewhere in heaven. So yeah, no, this section here is tricky. Like, you could get hit there. Thankfully, like, I ran around and didn't get hit, but if you do get hit, I don't blame you, because you could screw it up easily if, you know, you hesitate. Good scream. Ashley is keeping up with the traditions of like the horror scream queens doll. I mean, she could do better though, considering like the legacy. You know, you got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the main protagonist there in like the last 20 minutes. She's screaming her head off. And a more modern example from a movie which I haven't seen yet, but I hear good things about. It's kind of becoming a bit of a cult classic, is one called Ready or Not. Like, that chick, she screams with like vibrato in her voice. So it's like, oh, like, ah! No, she doesn't scream like that. No, that is a completely different type of scream. It's like a very guttural scream, but she's like doing like a but like she's like screaming her head off. But it's incredibly impressive. Like, I mean, I gotta train to be able to do that. I mean, I'm gonna have like more masculine tones. And speaking of masculine tones, I'm just remembering the time I saw Kiki's Delivery Service in theaters. Kiki's Delivery Service is an incredible film. Honestly, I was expecting to see it and be like, this is for kids, this is stupid. But like, it has such good vibes, because like, honestly, movies like Ponyo, honestly, I mean, it's a good movie, it looks incredible. Ponyo may be one of the best looking Ghibli films, like the more watercolor style is incredible, but it's just like, I don't know, man. It's kind of for babies, but it's a great baby film, but I don't know, it's just too kiddie for me. But like, Kiki's Delivery Service, you know, she's like, you know, she has a job, she's helping out old people, it's awesome. But when I was seeing it in theaters, anytime anyone would laugh in the theater, the laughter was very masculine. There was like no feminine tones to the laughter inside that theater, and it kind of threw me off. Anyways, we're here at Chapter 10, which may be home to probably one of the worst sections in the game. Once we get to that section, I'll explain. But yeah, pretty much here's where we're going to hunt down the rat. It's going to be, yep, look, sometimes the rat will be there, you can shoot it down, but sometimes you have to crouch around, and there's the rat. And there we go, we finished the side quest. This time, Mousely is not with us, so she doesn't have to see me kill her last, like, living relative. I don't know if a rat side quest is ever going to show up again. That may have been the last one. And, you know, we like to keep the slaughter down to a minimum, but I may or may not have committed genocide of all the rats in the Resident Evil 4 area in Spain. And here, okay, so here I'm going to go back to collect a couple items to sell to the merchant, so I can kind of, you know, build up my inventory. And All right, actually, I think I'm going to like get as much gold and treasure as possible in order to be able to buy the rocket launcher. This is my path to buying the rocket launcher. Which, I mean, every time you buy the rocket launcher, you are wasting a lot of money, which you could have spent on weapon upgrades. But I've been pretty much trying to avoid weapon upgrades for the most part. So, you know, so yeah, pretty much this little train cart. Also, I'm glad that the train cart is back. Like, they didn't remove that from the original game. Like, it's a slightly more moody, but it still is very, like, carnival ride-y, very roller coaster-y, very Dr. Seuss ride at Universal. You know, it has, like, that vibe, but, like, a lot more elaborate. I'm just glad it's back. But yeah, pretty much we're returning to this area to get this statue. And here, look at this little Rubik's Cube puzzle, except it's not too hard. Like, honestly, like, sometimes I get really stuck on these. Like, this one isn't, like, too difficult, but there's, like, another one I have to, like, solve later on. And, like, you know, like, the first couple times it took me a while to solve it. So, yeah, have some shotgun bullets ready just to escape the area. I have no plans on actually killing anyone here. I tried to do it in my previous runs, and it's just kind of too much of a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it. And, like, yeah, I mean, in order to kill these people, maybe you could climb the stairs and solve it, because in the previous game, I mean, in the original game, you could, like, climb on the higher levels and, like, throw a big grenade, and it kills most of them. Though I don't know exactly how you go about solving that. So, yeah, here we're going to return. We're going to ride the cart. And, oh, okay, I just remember something which makes me mad about this game, besides what's coming up. So this game had, like, some DLC or pre-order bonus, which was, like, the treasure pack, where if you get this bonus, it just puts more treasure in the area. So I'll be watching, like, a walkthrough, and I'll see someone get a piece of treasure. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to get that piece of treasure, too. And then I look in the same area, and it's not there because I didn't get the pack. It's stupid. It gets me too excited. I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to get so much treasure. I'm going to get so much money, and then I get fucking nothing. Dude, it's infuriating. So there you can see my brain trying to work out a puzzle designed for the most common denominator of gamers, which frankly involves me. I am not the best puzzle solver, though I was able to manage my way through the Silent Hill games pretty decently. Like, I don't really remember any time I had to, like, look up a walkthrough for, like, a Silent Hill game. Aside from doing the side quests in, like, Silent Hill 1, first playthrough I got the bad ending, and then I wanted to get the really good ending. But that requires you to do a side quest and go to, like, a safe in a really far off location in, like, the hub world. And, like, I love the first 4 Silent Hill games. The 4th one is my least favorite, but oh, here, okay, so like, okay, so here I, like, saved the game to pretty much, like, figure out exactly what I need to sell to get enough money to get the rocket launcher. And, like, I'm selling off a bunch of stuff. Like, I mean, there's a lot of treasures which I sold without inputting all the jewels I could put in them in order to get the rocket launcher. And also, I got enough spinels in order to upgrade my pistol's attack power. But boom, got the rocket launcher. And, like, I mean, the rocket launcher, there's, like, multiple places you can use it, because you could either skip this section, or you could skip this section, or you could beat up this one boss fight really easily, or you could not beat up that boss fight really easily and instead beat up another boss fight. But now that I've chosen the thing I wanted to, like, use it for, and chosen to skip the thing I wanted to skip, honestly, it was probably the best thing to, like, skip, because the other things which I maybe could have skipped weren't really all that hard, and the thing which I did skip was probably the hardest thing out of all of them. Like, I'll explain when we get there, but right now we are about to come up on probably one of the worst things in the game. Like, arguably, this is worse than the final ending battle of Chapter 7. And I just like the final battle of, like, Chapter 7 just because it's epic. Like, yeah, it is hard as fuck, and that final section is horrible with protecting Ashley, but at the very least, it's cool. The thing that we're about to come up on is not cool in the slightest, but right now there's going to be 4 bugs in this room, but we're going to deal with the first 2. There's going to be one on the ceiling. Once you shoot the one on the ceiling, there's going to be one on the right wall. So the other 2 bugs will spawn once you cross this threshold here, but you could shotgun them, but if you shotgun them, then you won't get the treasures because they'll just fall to the pits below, so I kind of like to drag them out here to this bridge. And most of the time, this bug here won't do, like, the sliding attack, but if they do the sliding attack, if you just keep running, it won't hit you. And one thing which I've noticed between the original game and the remake is I think the bugs may or may not be easier, because I do not remember using the pistol whatsoever to defeat the bugs in the original game, while here, like, 2 to 3 shots tends to kill most of them, though some of them can get a little feisty with 4 to 5 shots. Right now we're still good. This area is completely safe. Just be sure to use the knife to break that to get the first aid. But what's about to come up is probably the worst thing in the game. I've said that about 4 or 5 times, but believe me, it is incredibly painful. And hey, look, it's the bug room. This is probably, there's about 28 to 29 fucking bugs in this room. Like, they do infinitely spawn in certain areas. Well, not infinitely spawn, but these things have some of the most miserable spawns possible. But right now, we're still in the kind of safe early area. Like, we're not in the true pain yet. So right now, I'm just sniping a couple bugs. And the thing about these fucking bugs is that if you kill certain bugs, it will spawn 2 to 3 more bugs that will immediately know your location. But right now, the bugs we're killing won't spawn any bugs, which is kind of weird because sometimes when I kill that last bug, it will spawn 2 to 3 bugs. But there kind of came a point where every time I killed that bug, it didn't spawn any more bugs. But yeah, there is about 28 to 29 bugs. I had to count them because the only real way to no damage this section is to pretty much clear out the entire room. Like, there's certain other rooms in this game when you're dealing with like human beings where you don't have to kill everyone. You can just run past them, use a flash grenade, you know, use cheap methods like that, or just plainly run away. The bugs do not operate in this fashion. Just the way they're positioned is painful. So yeah, once you kill that bug down there, it's going to spawn like 6 bugs. And right now I'm just going to use this time to use this new... Oh yeah, I got the striker now. That's the one I was talking about before. Yeah, it just isn't as satisfying as the original game. The original game just kind of... Whenever like the chamber would like reload or just kind of like spin into place, it had a nicer click. While here, I don't know if it's more realistic or just better like sound quality or something. I just don't think it's as satisfying. Like maybe the sound of the original shotgun just was a little bit more crunchy because that's just how you did audio for the GameCube, but I just think it's more satisfying. But mind you, I was playing on the Wii, but it's using the same sound effects. I actually don't know if they remastered the sound effects for the PS4 or PS5. I doubt it. I mean, but yeah, no. So let me get back to the strategy for this room. So yeah, we're still clearing out all the bugs. And one thing is, I had to plug in headphones to beat this bug room because... And like, the thing about the headphones is that they were fucking Apple wired headphones. And when plugged into the PS5 remote, they make the game sound like ass. Like, I don't know what it is about the PS5, but like, it has better sound quality. Like, it has more surround sound or something. So when you use basic ass headphones for the headset, it makes the game sound miserable. So like, I don't recommend it unless you really need to hear for sound cues, and you do for these bugs, because like, I'm just hearing for whenever a bug's like behind me, because they like to sneak up on you. They have like an element of randomness to them, where sometimes they'll sneak up on you, and it's kind of hard to judge just how many of them you killed, or just specifically how many of them spawn, because sometimes some of them like to spawn, hide in a corner, and then show up at the worst possible moment later on. Like, the worst part about this bug room is just how they're planted across the room. So like, there's a set limit of bugs, like I mentioned before, and you can snipe some of the bugs, but if you snipe certain bugs, then about 3 to 4 bugs will spawn in out of nowhere, so you kill those bugs. But then there's also bugs that only pop out when you get close to a certain area. Like, when I was going down the stairs, those bugs kind of came out of the little hidey hole, and then once you kill the bugs over there, like, not only do those bugs come out of their little hidey hole, 4 to 5 bugs just kind of come in flying to your location. So you have to deal with that. You have to learn the placements, and you just have to deal with the placements themselves. It's not just knowing when they show up. You also have to deal with all the bugs. And like, they can surround you very quickly, so you kind of have to like position yourself in a way where you don't get immediately surrounded. So you have to know how many bugs to kill in each section, plus have an ear for any creeping up on you. Like, it's fucking miserable. Like, there was also a bug section in the original game, and that section also sucked. I'm not 100% sure if the section in the remake or the section in the original is worse. Like, I don't know, in the original, there's like this one section in a cave. That section is still in this game. It's in chapter 11, but it's not as bad as the cave section in the original game. But this section is like debatably worse than that cave section in the original game. Like, I don't know if this... Wait. Actually, this was a section in the original game. And from what I remember, it was nowhere near as bad as this. This is just fucking miserable. Because, like, the reason you can't do like a flashbang and run past them is just because they're constantly spawning, and the way like the area is designed, like, bugs tend to hide in such a way where the flashbang won't reach them. There's also the sense of verticality in the room. So if you're running like, you know, upstairs, like on the 2nd or 3rd floor, and you throw a flashbang to pretty much stun any bugs on the 2nd or 3rd floor, suddenly one from the 1st floor would just start flying up to you and just ruin your whole thing. And it's just like so tightly cramped too. These are very tight hallways. And yeah, so here I'm just kind of trying to bait out any enemies, and I can even... Yes, pretty much once you run towards this thing, it'll spawn in like 2 to 3 more bugs. And there's also the potential that another bug will be sneaking up right behind me. Just like in general, there's 28 to 29 bugs. And you'll know that you killed all of them because the music will stop being like creepy. And this will only happen once we reach kind of like the final switch where you have to pull. But it's a fucking miserable section. Like, this section sucks so much, I don't even like want to do commentary for like the rest of it, frankly. So yeah, like this is pretty much going to lead to the stairs, which will lead us to the first switch. And since we cleared out most of the bugs that follow behind us, like it is a little bit easier, but right now we have a bug that will always crawl towards you. Then we have a bug on the ceiling. And sometimes like some of the bugs that spawn in will try to camouflage. Okay, so there's like some bugs that are always going to camouflage no matter what you do. But then there's like specific bugs that will just decide that it'll be kind of fun to camouflage and pretty much ruin your whole day. And right now, I'm not 100% sure if a bug is showing up behind me. Like right there, I'm just checking to see if any bugs like show up behind me. And yeah, once you like cross a certain threshold, even to get to the stairs, some bugs are going to pretty much spawn in from the ether, pretty much like the pits below. Like yeah, pretty much down there. And like the flashbang is good, like it doesn't fully solve your problems, but if you throw a flashbang, pretty much you can like pretty much stab the bugs to death. But it's just that another bug will show up and ruin your whole thing. Like even when I was stabbing that bug, another bug was pretty much gearing up to like stab me back. But yeah, right now we pretty much dealt with all the bugs in this specific area. We're gonna crawl up the stairs. No, not crawl. You don't crawl upstairs, but we're gonna climb up the stairs. And since we pretty much cleared out most of the room, we're not gonna deal with anything too tough here. There's just gonna be the one camouflage bug there. And then once you kill that bug and kind of like get a little close to the switch, one more bug is gonna fly up. This is like the one rare time where a bug will spawn and it doesn't have 3 or 4 more bugs behind it. It's just like the one more bug. And you just kill it and it's good. Because see, if you don't kill all the bugs before you get to this switch, 3 or 4 are going to be right behind you. So once this cutscene is done, they just stab you and it fucking sucks. And see, I already like cleared out this little area here because most of the time when you jump down here, the bugs will actually spawn in. But since I decided to visit this area a little earlier and kind of took care of that, the area is a little bit empty. But like, don't take anything for granted. There could still be bugs around here. There could be a bug camouflaged right in the hallway. It'll be like a gray camouflage bug. So like, the bugs could either be camouflaged, you know, with gray tones to kind of fit this stone here. They could be camouflaged in more red tones to fit the ground here. Basically, the bugs have the same ability as Kevin from Ben 10, but only Alien Force and Beyond, not the first series. I forget exactly my Ben 10 lore, but like he kind of lost the ability to become multiple aliens at once. Though that also kind of like fucked up with Brain. I'm not 100% sure what that went down. But yeah, no, fuck these bugs, man. So yeah, that's the silence that comes when you know all the bugs are killed. Like once this silence comes on, you'll know that you pretty much cleared out the entire room and nothing in this room specifically can hurt you. And also, this also means that when you revisit this room later on in the game to collect a certain treasure, then there won't be any bugs that spawn in from my knowledge, because I've seen on certain like walkthroughs where the people, like when they return to this room later on in the game, there'll be like 3 or 4 more bugs, but when I returned, no bugs showed up. And I guess I'll re-mention that again once we get to that part in this video. But yeah, another thing that's terrible about this bug room is everything that comes after it, because this is definitely absolutely the worst part of the chapter and also one of the worst parts of the game in general for no damage. But like the things that come after it are also pretty fucking hard. So like if you're okay, I feel really bad for the people that want to do like S+ rank and no damage, because they can't save that much in the game. So, and also they have to be quick with it, so they can't backtrack to a save point for convenience or anything like that. They can't do that. So I mean, in an S+ rank, they'd have to do that entire bug room. Then they'd have to do a really tough combat challenge afterwards. Then they have to deal with the bugs again in the water. Then they have a boss fight, which the boss fight isn't too hard, but it is kind of easy to get hit on it if you're not prepared. So they have to do all that fucking shit. And it's just that the bug room just wastes so much time. Like another thing is just the bug room is not fun to like you know, usually with this whole no damage stuff, it's kind of like slamming your head against a brick wall until it breaks. But sometimes like getting that brain damage is fun. This is not fun brain damage. Like, this is like very boring brain damage, if that makes any sense, because at least with like other hard challenges, you know, you're like improving. It's fun to like get into that challenge. It's like fast paced. You know, it's like you're kind of like in the moment. While here, you're just like a fucking, it feels like you're just mowing the lawn, but sometimes like the lawn breaks your lawnmower. So yeah, I just have to like go fix the lawnmower. Like, that's not fun. All right, that's what this fucking room feels like. So I don't want to deal with the nonsense of failing the next sections, the next sections are kind of fun. You know, they're like fun combat challenges. They're not like too fucking boring like this. They're not like mowing the lawn. They're like actually fun. But if I fail those next sections, I'll have to repeat the entire bug room again. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to save the game and not deal with that nonsense. Like, man, what the fuck, man?
Oh, Mr. Kennedy, not much of a knight, are you? Your princess is a spirited
It's also a good thing I saved beforehand before doing this part, because what I want to do here, it's not the toughest thing in the world, but it is kind of tricky, and you can fuck it up. And if you fuck it up, you might as well have to do the entire thing over again. So there's going to be like 3 enemies that walk up. We can snipe them if you do have sniper ammo. And by the time you pretty much like headshotted every single one of these enemies, the 2 like, I forgot their actual name in the game, but like the 2 blind warriors will pretty much show up near the stairs. But if they don't show up near the stairs, you can also use this flashbang for these next couple enemies that will show up. There'll be this guy in the hood, you can stab them. Then there will be this person. You can also, I decided not to stab him, I decided to use the shotgun. And oh, actually what I did here was a little unconventional. So pretty much like I showed up, what you want to do is you want to get the 2 blind warriors near the stairs, use the RPG blast, and the radius of the RPG blast will actually kill both of them. And that's how we deal with this section in the game. So you could use the RPG to skip a couple other sections of the game. So like if you don't use it here, there's other sections which can save you time. But I think this is actually the best section to skip, because the other sections, there's other ways to deal with those sections, or just those sections in general just aren't very hard. So like the other sections you can skip, there's going to be a boss fight coming up. At the end of this chapter, you pretty much have to deal with like a scaling bug. And fucking scaling bug, that doesn't exist. That's not a real word. So, but yeah, no, you have to deal with like the bug boss fight, which isn't too bad. So if you use the RPG, you can just kill it in one shot, like pretty much get the treasure and be good with it. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to run away from it and not defeat it at all. But, you know, at the very least, I don't waste any ammo, because I don't really have much ammo in general. I think I spent most of it on the fucking bugs in the previous room. Those bugs ruin everything, okay? But I'm just thankful that the boss fight doesn't require you to actually shoot it or kill it. I mean, you could kill it, get a treasure, or you could just avoid it and escape and get no treasure. But, you know, I have enough treasure, like, I don't need to deal with that. Like, I got most of the things that I want. Another place you can use the RPG is in the next chapter, chapter 11. You can use it to pretty much skip an entire section where you have to get dynamite, because instead of getting dynamite, you can just use the RPG to blow up the rocks. In fact, in my original like Resident Evil 4 No Damage on the Nintendo Wii, that's exactly what I did. I used the RPG to skip that whole section, and, you know, just didn't have to deal with it, save some time. But I think in this game, the section is a little bit easier, or I just was more prepared with flashbangs. So pretty much, yeah, like that section you can just skip entirely with flashbangs, though the RPG is the better time saver. Actually doing that section isn't all that bad as long as you have enough flashbangs. And then there's like, you can also skip the boss fight with the two gigantes, which I did not do that in the original game. And in the original game, frankly, like the RPG is a lot more useful for that, because that boss fight is such an ammo like spend. You have to spend so much. Yeah, so this section right here, so you're not done with the bugs yet. I mean, frankly, we're not going to be done with the bugs for a while. I mean, I think we'll be done with the bugs by the end of this video, but no section is going to be as bad as the previous bug section. But this section is a bit of a pain in the ass, especially if you like fuck it up and you get clipped by one of the bugs, because these bugs are very quick. You have to be on the patrol. You need to have your shot. Boom. Once you see like those green lights pop up, you have to like immediately kill the bug, and just, you know, don't take like any chances, because the bugs are very sneaky. They're very quick. So like in this section right there, there's only 1 bug you have to kill. And the next section is going to be about 3 bugs that you have to kill. But thankfully the bugs don't like team up on you. It's like 1 by 1, you know, as you're going along the section, but it is 3 bugs. So there's going to be like a little threshold here, like once the green eyes pop up. No, actually this section you kind of want to shoot before the green eyes even pop up. That was not the section. Pretty much like that little crossing right there, the bug is way too quick. So honestly, I shoot before the bug even shows up. Just I don't even react to it. I predict it, because this thing is way too fast. So yeah, we pretty much killed our first bug there. There's going to be a second bug around this area, and then like once we get past the stairs that are like near the yellow herb, there's going to be a third bug, and then once you deal with the third bug, you're pretty much done with this area. Like, it's just annoying, because, you know, just I don't want to deal with the bugs anymore. Wait, so yeah, for chapter 11, like, okay, so in the original game, the 2 gigante fights like is pretty hard. You have to like spend a ton of ammo to kill at least one of them. Like, you can kill one of them with like the big old like lava pit, but you can't really kill the other one with the big lava pit. While in this game, they reworked the fight. You actually have a partner, like Luis actually like accompanies you to like defeat both of them, and they also reworked the fight where you don't really have to spend much ammo to kill both of them. In fact, if you're smart with it, you can actually kill both of them with the lava pit. Not at the same time, mind you, it's like one after the other, but it's a bit more scripted, and it kind of leads you to not spend so much ammo. You just have to use like a flashbang here and there, or like stun the enemy with an explosive here and there. Yeah, you have to like stun the enemy with like a scripted explosive, and if you take advantage of that, you don't really have to spend much ammo like you had to in the original game. So you could use the RPG to save a ton of time in both games, but at least in this game, the fight is easy if you know the right strategy. While in the original game, it was still like a pretty hard fight. But here, the fight's not too hard, so overall, using the RPG to skip the two like blind warriors in Chapter 10, I think is still the best choice, because that fighting those dudes normally is like incredibly hard. So just being able to skip them like that, and also just being able to deal with the other enemies that show up like easily, is a big advantage.
Take a look. Something's bound to catch your eye. Welcome. Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger. Your valuables won't do you much good. Thank you. I don't always. Well then, come back anytime.
So in reviewing my commentary, I've been spreading a lot of misinformation, because previously I said that Resident Evil 4 has a Chapter 6. It doesn't. Pretty much how the sections are split up. Like, I mean, the way I split up the village section, that's correct. The way I split up the castle section, that's correct. I was wrong about the island. The island is actually split up as in 5/1, 5/2, 5/3, 5/4, and then a final chapter. It's not even called Chapter 6. It's just called the final chapter. So pretty much the way it's split up in the remake, though, is chapters 13, 14, 15. So it's about the same, right? Just counting the numbers and segment filled ups, because this game also, this game, like, it makes chapter 15 a lot bigger, but it makes like the final section just like a throwaway section, because the final chapter in the original game on the GameCube was kind of a throwaway section. It was just kind of like, yep, this is the final boss, you're done. Okay, so, and also I was comparing the boss fight in the original game of this one to this one. I just said this one like 3 times, but pretty much in the original game, this boss fight has a lot more water. Like, the grates, it's like very watery. Whenever like this bug moves around to stab you, this predator bug, like whenever it like attacks you, like the water splash around, like the big sewage water. While here, the atmosphere's been changed quite a bit. There's a lot more ice. Everything's frozen. Like, it's a much different atmosphere. So pretty much you cross a certain threshold to pretty much activate the bug chasing you. And then you freeze it, you get to kick it, you can maybe shoot it, but I'm not really trying to kill it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run around in circles until I can escape, but we're not at the circle part yet. Right now we're still like doing new content, doing like new parts of the boss fight. And also another difference is that in order to freeze the boss fight, you press a button here to activate like a freezing thing, but while you're pressing that button, the enemy can still attack you. While in the original game, you knock over like this container, which can freeze the enemy, but when you're knocking over the container, that entire thing is like a whole cutscene. You press the button, you do a whole cutscene of you taking down the thing, and during that cutscene, you have complete iframes. And when you get kicked out of the cutscene, the freezing thing immediately freezes the bug. So what you do in the original game is you wait for the bug to get really close to you, and then you like press the thing to do the whole cutscene to like activate the freezing thing. While here, you actually want to activate the freezing thing before the bug is really close to you, because if you activate the freezing thing while the bug is really close to you, the bug is just going to attack you, and you just get screwed over. So it is like harder in this game than in the previous game. And the area has been a little like redesigned. In fact, we're actually going to miss out on some treasures because I'm not 100% sure how to acquire those treasures without getting hit. So we pretty much reached out our camping location, because so the bug has this thing where it'll constantly chase you around, but when it's not chasing you around, it'll start doing this. It'll start kind of trying to stab you, and you have to do a whole little quick time event. And if you're running around the area, sometimes they'll like pop out of sewers, like sewer things. Like, you see that big circle there? The alien likes to pop out of there. In fact, they might actually start to pop out of there in like maybe 3, 2, boom, there we go. And there's gonna be this thing the alien does a lot of the time, where if you run down this hallway, it's going to pop out of the sewer thing here, boom, and then so we run back, and we're pretty much in our loop here. We're gonna be running in circles for pretty much the rest of this thing. So we're just gonna run in circles here, and I'm gonna try to stay away from the big circle things, or try to like anticipate them kind of, but for right now, this is the entire circle. So right now the alien is just like chasing me for the entire thing, and once we'll know that it stopped chasing me once like it tries to like stab me with its big tail thing. And once like it starts stabbing me with the big, once it starts doing that, we're gonna run back to our little corner. there, because the great thing about staying in this little corner is that the alien can only spawn from this big sewer grate. See, like that. It's not going to spawn behind me. It's not going to spawn to the right of me. It's not going to spawn like outside that door. It's always going to spawn there. And it's always going to jump out of there, and you can predict it and just run the other way. But be sure to run the other way like really fast, because if you're slow with it, the alien's going to catch up to you and pretty much stab you like super hard. And that's pretty much what we're going to do for like 4 to 5 minutes. Now, you could have used the RPG to kill it in one hit, but you can also do this. You can also use your normal weapons to like take it down, but unless you have like a revolver and a lot of explosives, I don't think it's going to work. Because like on my normal playthrough, like I tried to kill it that way, but it just didn't work out. Like I think I was just using too much pistol ammo, or my shotgun wasn't enough. Like this thing takes a lot of punishment, even if you freeze it all the time. But yeah, the treasure I'm going to miss out on is like there's like this one treasure in the hallway. It's like a treasure chest. It's a yellow diamond. I'm just not gonna get it just for safety purposes, just so I don't get stabbed and like killed to death, because I don't know exactly how to route that, or I just got too lazy to route it and I'm just doing this. Boom, bam. There's not much more to it. Like the atmosphere here is still cool, but like it is a little bit different from the original game. Because the original game, like, it's very gray, muddy sewer water. I think one thing which this game likes to avoid is having the really like gray, disgusting sewer water, because like when you're fighting against the big fish in like the village section, you know, the very first boss fight of the game, in the original game, that area looks disgusting. But then you get to that area in the remake, and it looks beautiful. It's like at dawn. It had like the sky's purple, and like I mean, the thing still looks disgusting, but the lake looks like, you know, more fun to hang out in. Like I could probably like swim in that lake. I could not swim in the lake in the original game. Like that place is actually disgusting, and like yeah, it looks worse, but that's kind of the point. I mean, it's kind of nice that they made it look nice, but when it comes to comparing the two, I think I prefer how the fight plays out in the original game, though. I mean, one improvement from that fight in the remake is that you don't have to shake the Wii remote to like swim back to your boat. In fact, you never have to swim back to your boat in the remake. You never get knocked off it. The boat just dies if you screw around too much. But yeah, I don't know exactly the exact time frame when this whole thing like is done, but you'll just know because the cutscene will happen with the elevators ready. And wow, that is incredibly good timing. But yeah, once the elevator is ready, just kind of keep running in the circle, make sure that the thing is still chasing you, like, you know, behind you, and pretty much run straight to the elevator. Now, could this section be screwed up? Maybe. Like, if the alien pops out, per se, around this point, then you might screw up the whole thing and, like, everything will go to shit. But if the alien doesn't pop out, or is, like, still, yeah, like there, if the alien pops out there, then this section might be screwed up. But as long as you have some luck in this final section, look, it was right next to me. And once you like press the button to close the elevator, everything is good. But yeah, that is intense. My goodness. So here we've reached the section which greatly expand Luis's role, and that even plays into the shooting range. Now, I have to mention, I never did the shooting range stuff in the original game. I just never felt like it, and also, like, the only times I did it, I was bad at it, so I just kind of gave up. And to be fair, the first times I did these shooting ranges, I was also bad at it, but I did want some of the charms, so I kind of grinded to get some of the gold medals, and I got some good charms. I mean, by the end of my normal playthrough, like the first time I was playing this game, like, I actually learned that you could get the big old, like, RPG price reduction one. So yeah, here, the whole gimmick is you have to, like, in order to get to the bonus stage, and you do need to get to the bonus stage in order to pretty much get enough points to get an S rank, you have to pretty much do this entire thing only doing 10 shots. So you pretty much have to be very smart with it. You have to shoot the explosive, and sometimes you don't shoot the explosive, because if you shoot the explosive, then it hits one of the sailors. But yeah, pretty much if you do it in less than 10 shots, then you get to this part right here, to the bonus stage, and then you just have to get enough points. So, like, it's just weird. Like, the challenges presented at this point in the game are not about, you know, killing all the enemies. I mean, you do, actually, it still is about killing all the enemies, but you have to do it while not wasting that many shots. So instead of, like, spamming shots like you did back then, now you have to be precise with your shots. You know, you have to, like, aim it precisely in a certain way. Oh yeah, by the way, a spoiler alert, this is actually the last time I do the shooting range, because by the end of this shooting range, I actually pretty much get enough gold coins, enough silver coins, and the RNG actually lined up where I got the exact charm I wanted. I got my RPG charm. So yeah, the challenge of the previous one is to shoot the explosive dude. But now, the pistol you're using right now shoots multiple enemies. So if you shoot one enemy and there's an enemy behind that enemy, that pistol also hits the enemy behind them. So now, you're just gonna have to wait for that red pirate to line up perfectly right there. And once again, wait for the red pirate to be perfectly lined up. And, oh, I fucked it up anyway, so... Oh, wait, no I didn't. That's just a new enemy. So yeah, then you have to wait for the red pirate, boom. And I fucked that one up, but I saved myself there, very nice. So yeah, this one's, like, I like this challenge because it kind of forces you to move around the arena. You can't just stay in one place and do everything correctly. You actually, like, you know, in order to get the diagonal shots, you actually have to move to the right, you have to move to the left. You know, it kind of got you thinking a little outside the box. So yeah. The next challenge I remember being a pain in the ass. Honestly, the first challenge was a big fucking pain in the ass because, like, just... You have to be kind of precise with the explosive because sometimes like, you'll shoot and instead of shooting the explosive, you just shoot the yellow guy without the explosive and it's fucking miserable. So yeah, right now we're going to start off with our good old big strong weapon. Wait, actually, I think the only weapon we have for this section is the big strong weapon. We don't have like the red 9 or red 8. I forgot exactly what it's called. So yeah, for that, get the explosive. So for this one, you could wait until the sailors are done, but I'm just going to throw caution to the wind for some of these sections and just kill some of the sailors for the hell of it. And that does kind of end up biting me a little bit, but I'm happy with my results anyways, because the results of what I get here still get me that like rocket launcher charm. In fact, it gets me a bunch of other charms. Some of the charms I like, some of the other charms I don't like so much, because there's some really good charms for like, if you want to like have health. Like, I mean, we're going to roll for the charms anyway, so I'm just going to let this play out. Just hear this music right now. So yeah, guess what ranking I got? A! I got an A, dude! And like, yeah, that's kind of cheating because I was thinking maybe I could upload these little training sections and be like, oh, hey, I got all S ranks on that. But to be fair, that would also be kind of pointless because people not only are doing S ranks on these things, they're also getting all the death medals, because if you get all the death medals in these shooting ranges, then, you know, you get another gold coin. But from the coins I have right now and the way it's done, I can just get the rocket launcher. See, like, this thing might not, like, this path might not even work on your playthrough. Like, this selection of gold coins and the way I'm spending them at this part of the game only really works for my game, because I think for your game it's going to be different from what I understand. So, you know, just, you have to be prepared for that. But yeah, right now we're just getting, like, look, 30% like health recovery from Vipers. There aren't even that many Vipers in the game, and frankly, that's one which I should have gotten a lot earlier. Like, it would have been helpful. See, this is one I like. 20% shotgun, like, crafting bonus. I really like that, though. From the time I've had this, like, crafting bonus charm to the time where, at the end of this video, it didn't help that much. But hey, it's good to have it, because I'm always down to get more shotgun bullets. And like, here, it's kind of hopeless. I'm like, man, the rocket launcher thing isn't going to come out. I'm going to keep spending money, and it's not going to come out. I'm going to be so sad. You know, like, oh, man. And then look at that, see, it's like, it's not here, the rocket launcher thing is here, see, I got another one for the Viper. See, another thing that annoys me is they repeat, the charms repeat, so it's like, oh, they're just gonna keep repeating shitty charms. Okay, what is this? It's the fucking rocket launcher, dude. Yeah, there we go. And then I can spend another thing, and what am I gonna get with this other thing? Another gold one. Look at that, it's Ashley. We got two, like, okay, I don't know if the previous one was epic, but that one is epic. However, that epic charm, it doesn't help me much because that just gives me, like, more health with the green herbs, which, you know, which is a godsend, but, like, I'm never going to use the green herbs except to sell them. But this charm will still serve me well later on in the game, and for a very specific niche purpose for my playthrough only. And well, you're about to see what that niche purpose is later on. It will be kind of overwhelming what I do with that specific charm. But I'm just going to equip it because, hey, look, there is Ashley, and then we're going to put Leon right next to Ashley, and then we're just going to invite the dude with the shield, and there we go, big happy family right there on the suitcase. That family will get divorced later on in this video, but it will be for a good cause. Believe me.
Wise choice. Crossing your comeback anytime.
Oh, I fucked up the video. I gotta start all over again. So, I mentioned that I got no weapon upgrades in my first part, chapters 1 through 6, and I said that maybe that would change in the next couple chapters. And the thing is, it changed and I forgot to mention it. Like, I already upgraded the durability of my knife. Like, I don't know. Just when, like, those parts where I was, like, going to the merchant, I guess I just wasn't paying attention to my own footage, and I didn't notice that I upgraded the knife. Like, I wanted to do a whole big joke, like, oh no, I ruined the integrity of my run, I upgraded my weapons, but I already did that. I can't do this, I can't do the whole fucking, I can't do the bit, dude. Fuck. Like, my goodness. So, thing is, have I upgraded my pistol yet? I know I gave it like the weapon upgrade ticket, but is that really the same thing as like upgrading it manually? You know, I kind of did a whole little skip with the ticket because I do end up upgrading it. I do upgrade it in this video. I upgraded the power like 3 times. I'm gonna ignore dumb things like the rate of fire or reload speed or ammo clip. Like, who cares? Like, the only thing I care about is power. It's all about power. It's about power, it's about drive, it's about free young boy. Okay, so this section here, this is the minecart. No, this is not the minecart section. That comes later, but this is a section that was in the original game. It's also here, and if you time out your flash grenades and also snipe some dudes beforehand, this is and also have some shotgun blasts. Honestly, it is a slightly tricky section, but not too tricky if you have the tools for it. Just, you know, some flashbangs, some shotguns, and you're pretty much good to go. And also maybe shoot the explosive barrel if you feel inclined. But honestly, I think I'm just gonna skip it and just run up all the way up here. There will be a chainsaw woman inside of there. Not a chainsaw man, a chainsaw woman. She's going to come out of there. Actually, I'm not even 100% sure about that. Is that okay? Behind me is a chainsaw man, right? I'm actually waiting for both chainsaw individuals to be in the same area so that they both get flashed, so I can pull on this switch. This switch is going to slowly bring the bridge down. See, slowly is the operative word. There's going to be someone downstairs here, I think, or they're just going to be waiting for me. Oh yeah, and see, I'm using the TMP there to quickly shoot that crate open. And then there's going to be some individuals here, because when I was first figuring out this section, it actually made it harder for me than it actually is, because by the time you're done, by the time you grab the dynamite that you need to grab, so here, you're going to want to like kind of do a last stand sort of situation. You know, like there's going to be some enemies trying to crawl up here. Just try to delay them, you know, maybe throw an actual grenade there. See, that's not a flash grenade, that's an actual grenade. So you'll probably need an actual grenade. Oh, the fucking worms. So here I got stressed out like a lot. And here, another flash grenade, and by the time I threw that flash grenade, boom, the bridge is down, but it does take a little while, and every time you get to this point, the 2 enemies are always going to pull up, so be sure to just shot. Oh, there's 3 of them, and that was so fucking lucky, because usually when you're in that situation, you get grabbed, and you take damage. For some reason, the enemy was like, they were like fucking scared. I don't know why they didn't grab me, but I'm so glad for that. So there's actually 3 fuckers there. So see, the mistake I made when I was running this, like, you know, trying to figure out the no damage is that I didn't just run here. I actually ran downstairs and had to do that whole thing again. So yeah, if you do that, you're gonna get fucked over. But the game just gives you an easy exit once you grab the dynamite and just kind of get past those enemies. So yeah, if you have the RPG, you can just blow this up and skip all of that. But doing that wasn't all that hard anyways. It took a bit of time, so if you really care about that time, then yeah. However, one fun little change which this remake brings compared to the original is that when you blow this up, you actually have to get the fuck out of the way, or else the rocks that run down there kill you. So you know, you have to run into that little corner. And I contemplated running back to the save point before doing this boss fight, but what I realized is that would be a bitch move to make. Okay, so like in chapters like 1 through 6 in my walkthrough, I was like, after I kill all, like, you know, the people in the village, like in the little water section, and then I have to do the fish boss fight, should I save before the fish boss fight? And I said no, that would be a bitch move to do. And here, since I was like spamming saves during the bug section, I was like, should I do it here? No, this is just a tough challenge. It's not the fucking bugs, right? The bugs are just miserable. But this is just kind of hard to do in like one go. And you know, I'm not gonna skip it. In fact, here, the strategy I was trying to do, I actually fucked it up. But thankfully, I actually had the materials to make another flash grenade. So pretty much what you want to do here is you want to drag the dude chasing you. Because now that Luis is actually helping you out and being like a real homie, aside from like the cabin fight, he's just taking care of the other guy. The other guy's not focused on you. In the original game, both of them are focused on you at the exact same time. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to throw a flash grenade and then activate the mechanism. But what I did is I activated the mechanism like too sloppily, too slowly, and the guy recovered. You have to be quick with it. Like by the time you throw the flash grenade, you might as well already be preparing the mechanism. So yeah, right now all you have to do is pretty much like just wait it out. You can't do anything to this guy at the moment. You pretty much just have to like run away from him, unless you have the rocket launcher. If you have the rocket launcher, you just kill him. You can kill both of the dudes. But yeah, right now what I'm doing is I'm actually baiting the guy around this little mechanism here, because like he actually struggles to get past the mechanism. Like, you know, he's like, he gets stuck on it. He starts clipping on it. There's actually a really good clip, and I got really lucky here because sometimes he could just kick you with like his left foot, or just punch you or grab you. But for some reason, he decided to kick me with the exact seat. He got stuck on the mechanism. He's trying to do things, but he's stuck on the mechanism. Look at that. What a bozo. And then here he shrinks. Like, you know, he tried to activate his shrinking powers, but then Luis interrupted him with like a cutscene. Like, it's just this is a sort of umbrella tech that there isn't really much lore around. And here, where you want to bait him out here, so just kind of like hide behind that corner. And then by this point, he's gonna try to focus on Luis, but while he's focusing on Luis, you're not exactly free from danger, because you might be collateral damage while he's trying to swing at Luis. So don't stay too close to him. So now he has an explosive. Activate the explosive, then you activate the mechanism, and the fight is over. So yeah, which fight is better? This one is definitely less annoying, but the original has a bit more challenge to it. I guess here you could say like, oh, the modern game is trying to appeal to the modern gamer and making everything easy. Like, this game in general isn't really like that. Like, this game is still hard as fuck on the hardest difficulty, and in some ways harder. Maybe not for intended reasons, because some of the fucking grab detections are a little bullshit. But like, this game is still like pretty hardcore, but you know, has a few decisions where like, the modern gamer can't handle the hard games. You know, like the Vipers don't deal damage, the bear traps don't deal damage. And this fight is a little bit more scripted and doesn't force you to do so much. But you know what? I think it makes up for it by making Luis like just a cooler bro. Like, this Luis is like a definite, like, okay, this remake has definite improvements. In fact, one of the definite improvements is going to be near the end of this video, but Luis, a definite improvement. He helps out more, you know, he gets more like better quips. He doesn't get owned as easily. In fact, even when he gets owned, okay, when I say owned, I mean he dies. I don't know. Like, saying someone dying is like them getting owned, maybe it's a little insensitive. And you know, for Luis, I think it's a little insensitive because like the dude doesn't even get owned in this one. Like, he goes out like a champ, dude. And even like his death scene is handled better. They give him like a nice little moment. And to be fair, he doesn't exactly die here. In fact, there's a whole chapter we have to kind of wade through before, you know, he kicks the bucket. But he doesn't even kick a bucket, dude. You know, he swallows the bucket. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, we've reached is this the minecart section? Yes, this is the minecart section. There was something I wanted to mention about it, but I put it in my outline, so I have to go get my notes. But one thing which I really appreciate is that the minecarts have save points. Honestly, like, the save point layout here is actually pretty nice. The video I was watching, the pro solo gaming video, they skip all the save points, so like they run past them so fast that when I was looking at the walkthrough, I'm like, is there a save point there? Is there not a save point? But there's pretty much save points for like the big 3 sections of this. However, I'm not gonna be too cheap with this. I'm actually gonna try to do the entire minecart section in one go, and it starts now.
You like thrill rides?
Like, I just love the feeling of speed in this redone like Minecraft. Fucking Christ. Hey, look, I mentioned Minecraft before. I'm mentioning it again now. It makes sense. But no. It's just that in my outline, I didn't write... I wanted to write minecart section, but I wrote Minecraft section. But this has nothing to do with Minecraft. Actually, wrong. In Minecraft, you can actually build rails. You can build a minecart and build a system like this. You can honestly get a pretty similar ride to this Resident Evil 4 one in Minecraft. In fact, now that I'm mentioning it, I'm actually interested in seeing that. So this Minecraft section, minecart section, fucking hell, has this gimmick where sometimes you have to do a big turn, so you have to like move the control stick left and right, and there really isn't that much advantage to like doing good timing with that. You know, like, the game will tell you when to do it. Like, I mean, the only advantage to doing it like ahead of time before the game tells you to do it is just that you'll be able to get back to shooting quicker, but there's never really a moment where you have to. And yeah, no, the shooting here, like, this is another section that I think would greatly benefit from playing it on keyboard and mouse, because playing it on controller, like, some of these shots are a complete pain in the ass to get. But I also like the different avenues of shooting down opponents you have in this game. You could like shoot them in the head and body and they'll go down in one hit, or you could shoot their minecart like 4 to 5 times and they both die. Also for here, wait for them to get by the explosive and then they both die. Oh, actually no, I fucked it up. That guy lived. And see, I destroyed their minecart instead of like trying to precisely aim towards them. And there we have to shoot up an explosive thing there. And up ahead, there's going to be like a suicide bomber. No, but before we get to the suicide bomber, there's that one guy there. There's going to be another guy. Oh, there's the suicide bomber. And I think maybe after the suicide bomber, there's going to be a guy on our left. Yep, there we go, guy on our left. We have to shoot him down. Like, I'm telling you, like, this section honestly was a bit of a pain in the ass, but I couldn't be a bitch about it. I had to do this entire thing in one go. I did it in the original game. So yeah, let me get back to talking about the feeling of speed. Just like the way this section like communicates speed, you know, it's like it feels a lot more like a roller coaster like than the original game. The original game, you're just kind of like, the original game's version of this kind of feels more like you know, that Cat in the Hat ride at Universal? It feels more like that, but like a little bit faster, but not by much. While here, this feels more like a tried and true roller coaster. Like, this feels more like that one roller coaster with the dwarves at Disney World. It feels more like that, and I think it's awesome. Just like the new effects they added, like the speed lines, the blurring. It's a really incredible stuff. Like this is just like the improvement in graphics and just like slightly different priorities with this ride. I think are really cool. Like yeah, it is like more scripted than the original, because in the original game, the ammunition you use to like shoot everyone down while you were in the mine carts is your own ammunition. While here you get infinite ammunition with your pistol, and you pretty much just get to deal with it. Actually, I'm not even sure if it's infinite ammunition with my pistol or Luis's pistol. It's just like a coincidence that, you know, me and Luis have the same pistol. Well, not a coincidence. I decided this from the beginning of my walkthrough. I want this to be my endgame pistol. I'm going to like fully upgrade it. I mean, I used the weapon upgrade ticket on it. So yeah, for here, there's going to be like 2 dudes pretty much waiting for you, so take care of them. There's going to be 1 dude inside the house with explosives, take care of him. And you see, like, once you get to like the next minecart, which is the last minecart, there is actually a save point before that minecart, but I'm not going to be a bitch about it. I am actually going to do this minecart in one go from the other minecart, no damage. It just wouldn't feel right if I didn't no damage both minecarts like consecutively, right? So we're just going to do that. So I guess like one thing I kind of missed from the original like minecart section is that instead of riding one minecart, you actually rode 3 minecarts, and you could jump between them, and then like enemies would jump into one and try to jump into the other. It you know, it was like a little bit more involved, but also it wasn't. No, it was a dope ass section. I'm not gonna trash it. But this like more scripted roller coastery section, I think is also awesome. Just like for the visuals, just like it feels like I'm actually on a roller coaster. You know, like the butterflies you get in your stomach when you go down on a really big drop. Like this ride really simulates it like amazingly. Like just like it's so cool. Also, I had this game on PS5, and apparently they're working on a VR version of the remake, which, you know, you can only play the VR versions of the Resident Evil games with the fucking like PlayStation exclusive remakes, but only with like the PlayStation exclusive like VR headsets. Wait, did I say VR before or did I say something else? I got so fucking lucky there, because like something cool you can do is that instead of shooting the enemy, you can also just shoot their fire arrow if you get really lucky, but it's really hard to time. Here we have a suicidal bomber, just shoot them when they blow up. So one fun fact about the suicidal bomber dude is that if you shoot them before they light their dynamite, they don't die in one hit and explode, they just die normally. And there, boom, we have some wood there. Watch out for the wood. So sometimes there's bad times to reload, because if you reload at a bad time, then you won't be able to shoot the wood really quickly. You kind of have to watch out for that. Also, there will be a chainsaw dude. He will be showing up later. And here, like, you could explode that thing, but it's pretty fucking hard, especially on PS5, like, with the controllers there. And this game did release on PS4 as well. I wonder how well that runs, because this game just, like, I don't know, Capcom has the engine, like, the RE engine just runs incredibly well. Also, for some reason, even though the engine is called the RE engine, it doesn't stand for the Resident Evil engine. It stands for like Reach Earth engine or some shit. It's called something really fucking stupid instead of like RE is Resident Evil. Why the fuck would you call it anything else? Yeah, so for that specific section, you only have to shoot the Chainsaw Man once, and it's when he tries to like hit you. So pretty much just do that, then you have to like shoot down those 3 dudes there. And now for this Chainsaw Man dude here, once again, I think it's only once, but he's gonna come back later. And only when he tries to hit you. You don't have to kill the guy, because killing the guy gives you no benefits, because like at least, okay, I guess that's another thing I prefer in the original, is that when you kill an enemy, when they hop in your minecart, you know, they give you like their resources. So it's like, you know, you kill a guy, you get the resources. So killing the Chainsaw Man actually has like a benefit in the original, while here you only really need to stall the Chainsaw Man, because if you kill him, you're not going to get his resources. And like the benefit you get from killing him isn't all that great, because he barely shows up throughout this little run here. But I mean, I guess the remake designed around it, because you don't waste any resources during this section. So yeah, the enemies don't give you any resources, but you don't lose any resources. You're just using infinite ammo with your pistol. So, you know, it works itself out, but it is kind of nice that just there isn't much reward to killing the Chainsaw Man. You could kill the Chainsaw Man. In fact, one fun way to kill the Chainsaw Man actually is that you can actually shoot his minecart instead of the Chainsaw Man. It still takes a fuck ton of bullets, but you can do it. So neat stuff. So yeah, if memory serves me right, this is going to be the last time we deal with the bugs, and thankfully there's actually a save point before this section. Like, if I had to do the entire minecart section and the bugs, I think I would have gone insane, because I was kind of doing all of this like before I had a flight. Well, actually no, technically not this section, the next section. Well, I did this like the day before I had a flight. So like I was kind of in a hurry to finish up like chapters 11, chapter 12, because I remember that chapter 12 was kind of short. Okay, so for this section, I mean, the bugs, they're still kind of annoying, but nowhere near as annoying as, well, the bug room. The bug room's the worst of it. These enemies are still annoying, but at the very least, this area isn't so bad, because right now what you do, I mean, this is still kind of boring. This still is kind of like mowing the lawn. You pretty much have to gather all the bugs to this kind of location and pretty much mow them all down, kind of clear some room before moving forward, because if you move forward, then the bugs can kind of surround you a little way too quickly. But yeah, there was another thing I wanted to mention about the bugs, which I don't think I ever mentioned, but I think one disappointing aspect of the bugs in the remake is that they removed the unique treasure you get from the bugs. Okay, so like whenever you kill the bugs, you still get treasure. But in the original game, when you kill said bugs, like they pretty much the treasure you got was like a part of their eye. You know, you got like a blue scaly thing, a green scaly thing, a red scaly thing. And some of the treasures which you could like insert gems into, there were specific treasures that you could only insert the bug eyes into. So like, you know, it's like you kill a bug and you get like a brand new like emerald, which, you know, none of the other like enemies drop and you can't really get anywhere else, and they fit into unique treasures. You know, it's neat. But then you get here and the treasures you get from it, or the treasures you get from the bugs, are more like uniform. You know, they're like, oh, I've seen this emerald before. Like that's a sapphire. That's a red bajirol. You know, like it's no longer unique. So a little bit of that fun like stuff from the original just isn't the same anymore. And also it should be noted that like the bug room, these bugs will be trying to camouflage into their environment like before. See, look at that, I got a sapphire, but I didn't get like a blue eye, you know, just like it's like neat little details like that which just aren't here anymore. And look at that bug is devious, because like the way that bug was camouflaged inside of the rock, the bug just kind of looked more like a rock. It looked very like rocky. It had kind of like the same segmentations of a rock. I mean, you could barely tell that was a bug. I mean, I've trained my eye to it, and like, you know, okay, you can tell it's a bug, but like if you're paying attention, but you could also easily not notice the bug, and also just you might not notice the bug because you don't point the camera there, because this game's camera is pulled in very much. Like even people which I play on PC, like their camera is still pulled in quite a bit. So I don't even think that's an option on PC. Which, well, I mean, the original game is kind of built around that, though I will say that the PC version of the original Resident Evil 4, like people have installed mods to like increase the FOV and, you know, just make the game look a lot wider, and just so you can have a better field of view, which may or may not break the game, but it does look very nice, I'm not gonna lie. Like it makes the game look very pretty, just like having such a wide, expansive camera and all that, though it technically wasn't designed with it. Also, while we're here, we're going to be doing a certain side quest where we have to shoot these things. We shoot 4 of them, we get some spinels. And thankfully, getting the spinels here actually helps me with a big task I have to do later on. But I might as well... Okay, so there really isn't much to explain here, so pretty much you clear out the bugs in this little area. You know, you camp out here, you try to draw them out, you do a little side quest, and while you're running up here, more bugs are going to show up. And well, you know what? Luis is... I think something which really helps here is that Luis draws away attention from most of the bugs that could get you. So sometimes you might actually end up in a situation where... Oh yeah, and also there's going to be some bugs hiding around these corners. I myself don't know the exact spawn positions for where those bugs are going to be, but they are definitely around here. Also, I do something which kind of inconveniences me later on. The thing is that during the side quest, like the next like big like yellow pod which I have to shoot down is in a specific location, but I actually like skip the location and I go to the save point. Then I have to like, you know, pretty much run back to the thing, shoot it, run back to the save point to do some stuff for the merchant, and that does waste quite a bit of time. And while we're here, I also would like to get back to the Scooby-Doo topic, which, well, the Scooby-Doo topic encompasses 2 things. But the first thing is missing content. So for some reason, this game just doesn't have a section like you. So in the original game, Resident Evil 4, there's this one part where you're like in this lava room and you have to shoot a couple enemies, and there's like a dragon, and that dragon shoots fire, and it's awesome. Like, it's like a very short, tiny section. There's very short, tiny combat scenario. It is kind of like separated from the rest of the areas in the game, but like it's sick. So like, who cares? And it's just gone here for no reason. So it's like, man, come on. They just like, this game is a little bit more interconnected. Like a lot of the areas kind of flow into one another. But like, I really would like that area to come back. I really liked it. Another area, which I think is more in keeping with this game's aesthetics, kind of, is like during or after the minecart section. There's like this little part underground, and there's like a little house. You have to kind of like run through there. The chainsaw man is there, and it's like a little, I don't know how to describe it. It's like an underground mine sort of place, and there's a house, and there's like bear traps all around. and the enemies are like the ganados from the village section. I think it's awesome, and it's just not here. Like, and what replaces it? I don't really know what specifically replaces it. It's just not here. It's just gone, and I ain't got a Scooby-Doo. I ain't got a Scooby-Doo about it. I'm using the slang completely wrong. Yeah, so Scooby-Doo is kind of Cockney slang for I don't fucking know. And yeah, I saw the new Spider-Verse movie. How could you tell? But yeah, it was amazing. It was excellent. If they fuck up the third one, like that will be a tremendous loss. But I doubt that they will. This project is in good hands. Oh my goodness, I am so excited for it. Maybe I'll talk more about it another day. Okay, but the other thing, which has nothing to do with Scooby-Doo that I wanted to mention, is I'm just going to like talk about some of the stuff which happens in the future of this video, just to save some time, so I don't have to talk about it in the future of this video. So like, okay, I was doing this bug section of chapter 11, right? And then I saved, and I had to do the first Krauser fight, which is coming up, and that shit took me forever to no damage. And you know what the worst part about no damaging that fight is? I mean, I'm probably going to get more into it later on, but the worst part is that I was doing this section, like the section with the bugs, you know, when I had a flight in the afternoon, and under the best conditions, I could have no damage chapter 11 and chapter 12 and uploaded a new video when I was done, you know, like before my flight took place. But no, fucking Krauser was fucking miserable to no damage. Like he just always gets me, always clips me. I do like the wrong parry timing. Like I did manage to no damage him, but only after like 2 hours. And after I was done with like 2 hours, that only left me like an hour to do the entirety of chapter 12. And that was going well, and it doesn't seem very hard. But chapter 12 still requires like a lot of practice to like know when the enemies show up, know when I should throw a flash grenade here and there. You know, like, it takes some practice and time to memorize. So, frankly, I was just kind of shit out of luck. I had to shut the game down. I got ready for my flight, and I had a fucking, you know, I had like a 2 hour and nearly like 20-minute, 40-minute video that I couldn't release because it wasn't done, because I had to like get on a plane to like, you know, do some stuff for like 4 to 5 days. So it's just like, what the fuck? I'm just sitting on something which I know I could complete in like a few hours, and it's just like, dude. And see, now I have uploaded the video, and now I'm uploading commentary right now, because I did find a solution I will mention later, but I think it may be slightly noticeable if... Actually, no, I don't really think the solution I found to like upload this video early is noticeable, really. I'll mention it later when I get there.
Took care of her request, did ya?
So like there I saved the game because I didn't want to like go shoot the bug thing and then come back to like no damage Krauser. I kind of just wanted to like every time I press continue to like just instantly go to Krauser. And also I'm doing a wild gambit here where I'm pretty much going to sell everything I have, even though selling everything I have isn't the most optimal way to get the most money. It is the way to get enough money in order to fully upgrade my knife. So yeah, now I'm going to go full upgrade with the knife so I can get the faster speed so that I can no damage Krauser easier. Because not only do I have more damage, I can actually stab him faster. And my whole tactic is around just stabbing super fast. Like, you're gonna see it right here. But yeah, this fight, it's a great fight, and honestly a great evolution from the original game, because in the original game this fight was just QTEs, and also just the placement of this fight is better, because in the original game Krauser shows up in like the last 2 chapters of the game, while here he actually shows up a little earlier. He still feels kind of out of place, but not as out of place as before. So here, like, there's like perfect parry timings, and I'm just not good at them. I don't know how to read them. But yeah, pretty much my strategy is to kind of stab him a bunch, maybe parry so I can do a melee attack, or stab him to the point where I could do another like melee attack. And also you have to watch out for the evade. This fight still has QTEs, but they're more like contextual, like gameplay QTEs, not like the cutscene QTEs. So here I'm just trying to like exploit this weird corner, and I don't always do it right, and like, I mean, just parrying, just like, some of these guys' combos are crazy, and there's like this one knife attack he does, where like he swings vertically, and if he swings vertically and makes contact with you, you get put into this QTE. We have to mash a certain button, and if you don't mash it like fast enough, you take damage. You have to mash it really fucking fast. It's like the only QTE in this game that forces you to mash for dear life, and you can like escape damage, because with the other QTEs, like, you just instantly take damage no matter how fast you mash, or the QTE is so easy that it doesn't really matter. But here, there's like this fight has like the one QTE that like you could actually mash and avoid damage as long as you have full health, but you have to mash really fucking fast. I'm getting the hiccups, man. Just like, I hate the hiccups. However, there is a trick to get past the hiccups. You pretty much have to say, I am a fish, out loud. If you say that a couple times, the hiccups go away. It works for me. I am a fish. I am a fish. I am a fish. But I'm not, though. But yeah, see, now the hiccups are gone. Nope, no, they're not. Okay. Well, the hiccups will go away with time. Okay, this is like the one FaceTime conversation you don't want to skip in the game. Like, the rest of them are just cutscenes, so you should skip them. But for this one, skipping it is pointless because even if you do skip it, you still have to go through this entire elevator ride. So what I just decided to do is pretty much like hang up on like a hot chick and just be fucking alone with my thoughts in this fucking elevator, okay? For zero fucking reason. Like, you can't skip it. You have to ride the entire elevator. So it's like, what the fuck? Okay, so let me talk about maxing out the stats of the first knife. Also, just, I had to sell so much shit to, like, actually have enough money to, like, max out my whole knife. Like, for one, I had to sell my TMP, so I no longer have a TMP. Could I buy it again? Maybe. I don't plan on it. Honestly, I might specialize with a different weapon. Might pick up a revolver. Might even pick up that little bow gun. Honestly, a lot could happen in chapters like 13 through 15. I'll just have to see like what fits me. But yeah, no, the TMP is gone. I sold the entire ammo of the TMP. And remember that Ashley charm I won by like spending a lot of time like shooting stuff? Well, that thing is... Okay, I was going to say something, I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, no, yeah, I sold it because it's an epic charm, so it costs quite a bit of money. And without it, I would have not been able to afford like all the knife upgrades, and I wouldn't have been able to make it fast as fuck. Because right now I have no money, I have no treasures. Honestly, one of the treasures I had, like you could fit so many jewels in there and you would have gotten a ton more money. A lot more money from selling it later, but I decided to sell it now just to get as much money as possible. Dude, I sold one of my grenades. I sold like, the green and red herbs without any yellow herbs, which means that, you don't get the best bang for your buck, but I got the bang which I wanted and the bang which I needed to beat the Krauser fight without taking damage. So yeah, here we are backtracking to this room to get a golden egg so we can skip, well, kind of skip a certain boss fight. Honestly, the boss fight still was kind of difficult even with this skip for me. But, once I learned how to kind of manage things or just kind of how to manage my resources with the fight. But like this item, I do need this item. Like this fight, I cannot do it without this item. I mean, like I could no damage it, but it would have been a lot harder. And this video would be longer, which I mean, this video is long enough as it is. And hey, look, I solved the Rubik's Cube puzzle. Oh yeah, so let me go back to what I'm actually talking about. And also, there's a side quest you can do in this area where you throw an egg at one of the paintings and you get more spinels. And I did not know about this side quest until it was too late. So yeah, no, retrospect is a bitch. No. Is it retrospect? No, hindsight's a bitch. There we go, that's what it is. And then we have a bajillion enemies here. And let me tell you, like the enemies that are infected by that parasite thing, they run fast as fuck at you. And if you don't have a shotgun, they are miserable to deal with. Just like an utterly obscene enemy, way too fucking fast. And when the head crabs are like off them, like they're very low to the ground, so you have to like aim low to the ground. Look at that guy, is really fucking close. Oh my goodness. Like you have to run very, very far. And also there is the slightest chance that there will be fucking bugs in this room. So, you just have to be very careful with that.
Gun rock.
From this point on, I am going to start spamming the save points just because in this current section, this was kind of the part like before I had my flight. And see, look, the spinels, they gave me some extra ammunition there so I can craft more shotgun ammo. And I'm definitely going to need shotgun ammo for this section that's coming up. But yeah, no, like I start spamming the save points a lot just to be as quick as possible whenever I have to like retry. Like, I mean, just so I could have the best chance possible of doing this section before my flight. Before I had to leave for my flight. I failed, obviously, but Like, it was an attempt. So if you're wondering why I'm going to save in the next, like, minute, it's because of that, just for convenience's sake. And to be fair, having to go through this entire little cutscene thing here in order to do the castle section would probably drive me insane, because the castle section itself is already elaborate enough. Though surprisingly, not really the toughest thing in the game at all. So, yeah, let me get back to a thing I was talking about before. So, maxing out the stats of the first knife pretty much changes like this one game tech thing I would do before. When you don't upgrade the knife and it's slower, I would run towards a barrel and press the swing knife button while I'm a couple feet away from it. And since the swing is kind of slow, oh, by the way, right now I'm actually playing on remote play. I'll explain that more later. But since the swing is kind of slow, it'll like connect while I'm running towards the barrel. Once you max out your speed though, your swing is so fast that if you swing the button too soon, you'll miss the barrels, causing you, to be, because, no, it's not causing you, it's because you'll be done with your swing by the time you run to them because you upgraded your speed. So it kind of changes up the flow, so get used to that. So yeah, no, I upgraded this entire tower gauntlet and the boss fight that's coming up through remote play on my telephone with a PS5 controller connected through Bluetooth. It ran like complete ass. My Wi-Fi in the place I was in was pretty good, but still, it ran like complete ass. Maybe because the Wi-Fi my PS5 is connected with isn't the best, but yeah, no, it just did not run well, but it ran well enough for me to be able to do this and record the footage. And oh, the whole process of getting this footage is one thing. So yeah, the strategy here is there's going to be 4 enemies that pull up there. One of them has you can just shoot with the pistol, and the other one has a shield, so use the shotgun for the shield, and then just use the pistol for the rest of them, and use the shotgun in case of panic emergencies. And then there's going to be an archer there, shoot them down, and then like run over here. And a lot of the time what I would do is that I'd take down the like Salazar like statue, because that is the area where you would like shoot the red barrel and it will blow up and you wouldn't have to deal with the fire thing later. But I just decided not to do it. I guess my movements are a little rough. Honestly, aiming at the Salazar thing while on remote play was honestly pretty tough. Like, I kept missing most of my shots. Like, I really have to line it up and go boom, but I missed most of my shots just because like there's like slight delays and sometimes it lags and it kind of leaves you in awkward positions every now and then. So like you really have to play it safe. So yeah, no, if you have a plan, this section isn't too bad. Well, I mean, the only part that gets like really bad is the stairs. And also, it's about resource management, of course. So right now there's no enemies. You're perfectly safe for just to get the barrels here. But once you step on this wooden platform here, and just be sure to destroy that statue before getting here, because if you don't, fire will try to take out. But yeah, once you move there, this guy will spawn. And while there is another, see, you saw that vertical attack he was about to do? There is no QTE dodge prompt for that, so be careful. So yeah, there is also an enemy over there, but for some reason they don't bum rush you until you get close enough or until you get aggressive enough. So sometimes if I shoot her and I run out of bullets and I try to reload, like, and she's not dead, then she'll try to rush me. And also there's going to be an archer all the way across the map. Actually, it's not even an archer, it's just someone throwing an axe really good. So take cover here. What I like to do, though I think I failed this time, is get a headshot on this one enemy here, get a headshot on the person throwing the axes. But I did a headshot and it didn't like immediately blow up this chick's head, so she just runs really fast to your location to just, kill this individual once they're close to you, and then by the time the shield person is over here, then you can just shoot them down, because what I like to do is pretty much snipe the 2 individuals over there before the shield person is close to me, and by the time I'm done like sniping these 2 individuals like heads off, then I could like the shield guy will be close enough to me where I could prepare my shotgun, but not so close that he'll hit me. Right, and then from here on out, there's gonna be like some scythe dudes. There's gonna be 2 of them, so I'm gonna try to bait them downstairs, because once you reach a certain threshold upstairs, the dude who throws cannonballs, like like in Donkey Kong, except instead of barrels, they're like big spiky balls. He's gonna start bringing the big spiky balls downstairs, and you kind of have to like take cover and deal with that whole shenanigans. But first, I like to take out these 2 guys, and also before that whole thing activates, I like to take out the 2 next guys that are upstairs, and you can avoid crossing the threshold just by kind of throwing a grenade over there, or just just shooting them in general. But one of these guys has a shield, so I might as well just use the grenade to take care of the shield guy. And frankly, if I aligned the grenade better, maybe I could have killed both guys, but the way I did it, it didn't even kill the shield guy. I guess I did not align that grenade well at all, but it did make them easy to just kind of pistol shoot them later. And mind you, my pistol, it does have some pretty strong attack. I did upgrade it. This is not a no upgrade run anymore. It does have upgrades. So yeah, see, you cross this threshold and boom, this guy's going to start throwing the cannonballs, but since I kind of planned for it, actually no, I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to wait for the cannonball to pass me by, and then I'm going to run upstairs, and upstairs are 2 enemies, and one of the enemies is placed in a really bullshit location where if you just try to approach them normally, they're so close to you that their grab detection just immediately grabs you when you're right across them, and you can't really be like too far away from them because this ball is always going to be coming down. So instead I'm going to throw a flash grenade before the enemy could even approach me, and then the thing's going to go flashy flash, and then I get to stab this enemy, stab that enemy, and then also I'm going to try to... No, actually, I'm not going to snipe that lady over there because if you can avoid using your sniper ammo at this point, avoid using it because you do want to save up some sniper ammo for like the big like elevator thing. So yeah, just kind of run up, shoot this individual a bunch of times. Like the great thing about these enemies is that they can only shoot you with a projectile. If you get really close to them, they can't do a melee attack. They can only like push you away and shoot their arrow. So honestly, getting up close and personal isn't too bad. And this guy has a whole like 2 to 4 second animation where he can't hurt you because he's like getting off the switch. He has this little like contextual animation or something where he has to like get off the switch, and that's more than enough time to just kind of kill him because he just can't attack you while he's getting away from his switch. So it's very nice. And here there's gonna be a treasure chest. So yeah, from here on out we're collecting some treasure. So let me backtrack and I guess further like elaborate on this whole remote play nonsense I did. So like, you know, like after I recorded my no damage of the tower and the rest of chapter 12 on remote play, through remote play I went to my recording and uploaded them to pretty much YouTube. Then I downloaded those recordings from YouTube using a 4K video downloader. It is a green application. It is an application, not a website. And okay, what is happening here? Oh yeah, by the way, once you get to the switch and kill the guy who shoots down the cannonballs, this game is going to spawn in more enemies, which, you know, you can now send the cannonballs yourself and kill those enemies and collect their resources. Sometimes 1 or 2 guys might stay alive if you time it poorly, and I did time it poorly. And look at that, Ashley's not hanging on the case anymore. What a shame. The family got divorced so that I could upgrade my knife speed faster. I'd say it's a good compromise. So yeah, like, the thing about, you know, getting my recordings that way is that I'm pretty sure that section of the video, like this section you're seeing right now, is in worse quality. So I don't know if y'all would have noticed if I didn't mention it. It's not like the PS5 self-record is in the best quality anyways, but you know, getting it straight from the PS5 would have been in higher quality and all that. So here the strategy is already starting. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw the cannonball again, but we're also going to activate the lift immediately after, because once you activate the lift, the red guy, which we're going to be sniping later, shows up, and once you hit him with a cannonball, that takes a ton of his health out. Because like the red guys are like such like massive health sponges. I wanted to mention the term health sponge before, and for this archer right here, we're not going to shoot the red barrel because we're going to shoot the red barrel for more important enemies. Like look at that, it took 2 shots to defeat like the fire arrow individual there. While here, we're going to use the red barrel to kill 2 individuals. I hope it's 2 individuals, because sometimes I'd shoot that red barrel and only kill one of them, and the other guy just kind of runs at me. And then here, we're going to fix our attention to this red barrel, and I'm not 100% sure if shooting this red barrel at that time was the best timing. Honestly, my timing gets a little bit spotty later on. Okay, by the way, in this lift, there will be 3 archers in total. We just took out the first archer, but later on in the lift, second archer will pull up, and he will suck. And then, yeah, see, the archer, they actually pulled up right there. In fact, that's actually why I used the flash grenade, in order to flash people. But some people were not affected by the flash grenade, but the important individual was. And also, by the time you get to this point, you're going to want to like focus your attention on the red guy, because I think he's around here. In fact, I'm actually going to throw another flash grenade just so I can notice where the red guy is. The red guy, yeah, there he is. See, there's the red guy. So pretty much the way you kill him is like 2 to 3 headshots. I have not upgraded the sniper rifle at all. Same with my shotgun. And me not upgrading my rifle or shotgun at this current time and moment is important, just because it's important for like a thing I have to explain later on. So yeah, there's going to be a 3rd archer. I'm honestly not 100% sure where that 3rd archer is going to be, but yeah, you want to take out the red guy, it just makes things easier. Like, you know, we get less worm people. And I failed to kill him like in that first little section, but hey, I killed him now, and you know what, that's good enough. So now I'm just using the shotgun to pretty much knock people off or just kill them like instantly. But yeah, the 3rd archer, I'm not 100% sure where that 3rd archer is. Honestly, I think the way I'm positioned was just very lucky, because if I was positioned in another place, the 3rd archer, there he is. At least, okay, the good thing about this 3rd archer, and here I'm going to stab this guy first before killing the archer. Okay, so like the second archer is not near a fire barrel, but the third one is, so you can just shoot the fire barrel and the third archer is dead. But honestly, you probably should have killed that third archer a lot sooner than I did. And by the time you reach this point, you're done with this section. So you don't got to worry about any archers or anything like that. And I don't remember, okay, so another thing which was removed from the original game is you actually run away from like the giant Salazar like statue. Like this game still includes the statue, but you don't get to have a fun chase. Oh, honestly, I don't know if the chase was that fun. It was just the concept of the chase that was really fun, because the whole chase was just a bunch of QTEs. And on the Nintendo Wii, like, okay, the Nintendo Wii version is my favorite version of the game, except for the fucking QTEs where you have to like shake the Wii remote. That shit is infuriating. I'd much rather mash a button. And yeah, like the whole chase is just shaking a Wii remote and then having to press the buttons awkwardly, like occasionally. So honestly, like in terms of gameplay, the section kind of sucks, but the section is so funny and like comedic that like it makes it all worth it. So yeah, here I reached this point and I'm honestly kind of pissing my pants. No, I'm not pissing my pants whatsoever. That's a fucking terrible metaphor. I don't even think it is a metaphor, but I was scared shitless. So yeah, it's shit. We need to focus on the shit, not the piss. Remember that for future occurrences. But yeah, no. I'm kind of like scared shitless here because like if I get hit here, I have to repeat the entire section all over again. So what you have to know is that there are two archers. You can pretty much like take care of them before they can do anything to you. And also for these wooden sections, you can only walk across them. You can't run. If you run, they kind of get destroyed. So you're gonna just be careful like that. It's kind of like Super Mario in that way. And then there's gonna be a third archer that I think shows up pretty much once you reach this point. Yeah, look at that. They showed up. So pretty much just shoot them down before they can do anything. And to our left, like very close to us, will be the merchant. And we are reaching pretty much the final boss of this section. And I'm pretty much going to be prepping myself for that final boss. I'm going to go to the merchant. I'm going to save the game. I'm going to decide exactly what I want to buy. Oh, I can't exactly buy much. I mean, fucking, I wasted all my money on the super duper fast knife. So I'm actually not going to be buying too many things, but I will be buying a couple things. I'm going to be buying some small materials, some large materials. And I think I'm going to get, I think I actually do get an upgrade. I'm actually not 100% sure what I'm going to buy. Let me see right here. Actually, I'm not going to be able to see because I'm going to save the game first. Alright, let's see. What am I going to buy? I know it's some small resources, some large resources, and there was another thing. Oh, I'm actually just going to repair my knife. And one of the charms I have pretty much gives me, pretty much makes it that... Yeah, here we go. Like the Leon charm makes it that I got 30% off on knife repairs. And here I'm loading up my sniper bullets, and I will need my sniper bullets for the strategy I have. So the reason I want to mention that the only things I've upgraded are my knife and my pistol is because I'm not going to be using either of them for this fight. The tools which I'm going to use are purely their base versions, so this strategy does work with your base weaponry, because like a lot of the videos I see requires like a fully upgraded revolver, and I just don't have that. So here's what you're going to do. So you have to throw a golden egg, right? And once you throw the golden egg, you're going to spam the shit out of him with the striker shotgun. Just... This is not going to kill him, but it's going to get him very close to death. And then once he starts closing up like that, after you shot enough bullets to like empty out your whole clip, throw a heavy grenade at him. And that one heavy grenade is going to deal a fuck ton of damage. And now he's going to be about 3 to 5 sniper shots away from death!
Watch your language, my lord. Oh, others.
This means death. It's the miserable death.
This isn't 100% consistent, but something I like to do is I kind of like to stand in one place and make the boss fight do this attack, because this attack is honestly really easy to avoid. When you get really close to him, he tries to do like a big melee chomp, and he opens up once in order to like, do that, and then he lunges at you, and then he opens up again. So it's honestly a really good opening, but a lot of the time, like once he does one melee attack, he goes for a big squirty attack. And the squirty attacks are a lot quicker. He tends to like run away after them. I was able to land a shot there, and hey, that's a shot that actually killed him, so very nice. So just to recap, if you have a golden egg, you deal a ton of damage to the guy. But just, okay, quick side note, this boss fight is a massive improvement over the original. Like, the original fight was cool, but this one is way cooler. Like, honestly, like the way he moves around the arena, the fucking music, the music is amazing. This is like probably my favorite boss fight theme in the game. Okay, so let me get back to recapping. So, if you have a golden egg, you deal a ton of damage to him, like, to the point where he immediately goes into his second phase. However, my weapons were not his final phase. However, my weapons are not strong enough to insta-kill him instantly. So the insta-kill strat is like an explosive arrow, then a golden egg, then you spam him with an upgraded revolver. I don't got any of that shit. So pretty much, I found that if you hit him with the golden egg, he gets stunned, spam him with the striker shotgun, then throw a heavy grenade. When he does the scream, don't miss, and then, you know, shoot him like 3 to 5 times with a sniper shot, and then he dies. And this is with no upgrades. So, you know, if you need to do it and you don't have any upgrades with your weapons, but you have all those materials, very nice. And this is the first time I got Magnum ammo. Honestly, it was kind of hard keeping track of when exactly I got Magnum ammo, because before I got it earlier, but then I would retry, and I didn't get it on the retry. But yeah, this is the first time I've gotten Magnum ammo, so maybe in the next couple chapters I should invest in a Magnum. Now that we have some space, I don't got a TMP anymore. Okay, so another thing is that in this upcoming section, something kind of surprising is going to happen. Just be warned. I don't know exactly how close we are to the surprise, but it is a very big surprise. And yeah, once again, this is another big old cutscene thing, which you can't skip because it's not a cutscene. Like, honestly, this game has a lot of cutscene stuff that you can skip, and it's honestly great. But for this, you're just kind of going down the elevator. And honestly, after such an exciting battle, which if you don't use the cheese strat with the golden egg, would have taken a much longer time, because fighting that enemy normally does take a while. So, okay, I actually forgot that there was a fucking knight in this section. Ah! Like, I mean, I actually, like, fucking, okay, I did not scream when okay, the guy clipped me and I had to repeat the entire section over again, but honestly, my no damage of the previous boss fight was kind of sloppy, so honestly, I was kind of glad to no damage it, but I didn't know there'd be a fucking second knight right at this point. Ah! Like, I actually fucking went, ah! I was like, I was playing on my fucking phone, on, like, remote play. I had the fucking PS5 control. I was, like, hunched over on a fucking dinner table, like, you know, with a decent chair, not a gaming chair in what anyway. But yeah, that's the video so far. Thank you so much for watching me No Damage chapter 7 through 12 of Resident Evil 4 Remake, and the third part will come out, I'm not sure exactly how soon, because these next sections do have some hard parts. But yeah, this is the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all then.